Hope you're all having a great day wherever you are. Whoops. Orange jersey's nice. Got my orange jersey on. Got my Altuve jersey on. I was having dreams last night that I was watching Altuve play. I don't know why. I'd wake up and I'd think, that's interesting. And then I'd roll over and go back to sleep. And I'd have another dream about Altuve. It's like my dream would continue. That happened about 3 times. I woke up with Altuve on my mind and in my dream. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. And then I rolled over and went back to sleep. Woke up again. My dream was still going on. All I can remember is just Altuve hitting the ball over and over again. Just hitting the ball, hitting the ball, hitting the ball. I don't remember anything else about the dream. I just remember seeing him hitting the ball over and over again. And I'd wake up. And then I'd roll over, go back to sleep. Then start dreaming of him hitting the ball again. First time I've ever dreamed about my hero. I don't know about you guys and gals, but I dream a lot. I dream every night when I sleep. Every time I wake up, I remember my dreams. Sometimes I just barely remember bits and pieces. Sometimes I remember complete stories, like they are epic films. Sometimes they seem very realistic. Sometimes they're very surreal or abstract. They're always different. Sometimes it's very obvious that there's meaning there and I can understand what it is. Sometimes it's so abstract it takes a little time to figure out, and sometimes I don't ever really figure it out. But anyway, some people I've met in life, they dream often. Some people dream sometimes. Some people say they never remember their dreams. And when people tell me they never remember their dreams, I find that both strange and sad. I can't imagine going through my life without remembering my dreams. You have no idea how much good it can do in your life to remember your dreams. But that's neither here nor there, because today's dream is to beat the Rangers and sweep them. That would be a really nice outcome, would it not, for this series against the Rangers? To sweep, get swept, and then have a comeback sweep. At the very least, the Astros need to have what you would call there we go, sorry about that. I forgot to refresh the cache on my page there for my scoreboard. Now it's correct. The Astros, at the very least, need to have a strong showing in this series. That's for sure. That's for sure. First pitch coming up in around 5 minutes. And I am honored to be your voice for the live Astros play-by-play here on Geaux Stros on YouTube. I've had several interesting comments here and there, sometimes in the live chat. Sometimes I get an email to my Gmail account. For those of you who have emailed me, I want to say thank you for your messages. Sometimes I get a buy me a Kohi. For those of you who've bought me a kohi, some of you several times you bought me a kohi. Thank you. I'm going to drop some names here in just a minute. Some of you have been kind enough to send me donations through PayPal, or I now have a super chat. To all of you again, I say thank you. I do want to say right off the bat, I don't know if Old Dog is here, my listener Old Dog. I want to say to him first, thank you so much. He's bought me a couple of coffees in the past week. Caesar has bought me a couple of coffees in the past week. Also had a couple of other guys buy me a coffee within the past month. One is an anonymous who bought me 3. By the way, when you buy a coffee, typically it's $5. So when I say someone bought me a coffee, they literally went through my link, the Buy Me a Coffee link, and donated $5. One person anonymously bought me 3 coffees about a month ago. And Robert bought me a coffee a month ago. He bought me one 2 months ago. I had another friend who apparently is Chinese or Japanese, but it's difficult to say because all I see is kanji, the Chinese writing, but it could be Chinese or Japanese. Bought me 3 coffees about half a year ago, but those were from my other channel. Everything before that, thank you so much. Rod, Caesar, Anonymous, and Robert, plus Angie R. You know who you are if you're listening. Angie R. bought me or donated to me $50 yesterday. That was a really big deal. Really big deal. $50 goes a long way for me right now. I filled up my van yesterday. Since yesterday was a day off, I decided to go to the local city. It's about 45 minutes from here. Medium-sized city. Hey, Old Dog, thank you so much. I was just giving you a partial shout out for your donation for buying me a coffee. Thank you so much. I saw your most recent coffee purchase, and I want you to know that I appreciate you, sir. McCullers is on the mound right now, so we should be having a pitch shortly. It looks like his warm-ups are finished. I'm going to pause right there on the thanks. First batter for the Rangers is Josh Smith. Corey Seager is on deck, and Marcus Semien is in the hole. Yep, Lance is back on the mound, all right. First pitch coming in just a moment. Here it comes. Bounced foul at the plate, 80 miles an hour, strike 1. So we start this game off 0-1. Still got a few more people to thank. I'll get to that. People who've donated to me recently. Here comes the 0-1 pitch from McCoylers. Maybe that's what I would call him if the Oilers were still a team and he played for them. I'd call him Lance McCoylers. 1-1. Here comes the toss. Low and inside. Ball 2. 2-1. Got my coffee right here. Oh, yeah. Here's the toss. A little high. Ball 3. 3-1. I'm glad to see the Astros wearing their bright orange on the same day that I decided to put mine on. Feeling good. Here's the 3-1. Right on the inside edge. Speaking of feeling good, that's strike 2. McCullers comes back there. 3 balls and 1 strike to Josh Smith, batting .284 this season. Here's the toss. Fouls it off and loses his hat. That man lost his hat. He lost his cap. He's out there playing his little game, swinging his little bat. And on that pitch, he lost his little hat. No matter how old I was or what I was doing, my mom would always speak like that. Here's the pitch. Ground ball, wow, look at that. Look at that. Bryce Matthews on the very first play of the game. I had to pause there for a second. I was like, is that Cam Smith? Oh, yeah, that's right. Bryce Matthews, second base. Very first play of the game. A little bouncer, no problem. Good job. That's got to be a really great feeling, though, guys, doesn't it? Get called up. Come straight into the majors playing for a team like the Astros and go straight to second base. This is hit out into right field. There's a single. Corey Seager. Cam Smith handles it and brings it in. Walker's back in the game, guys. He's at first base again. Here's that hit. 83-mile-per-hour slider right in the zone there. You guys have dropped a lot of comments. I'll get to those in the break. McCullers gives us a short inning. That would be nice. 1 out, 1 runner on. Here's the toss. Right in the bottom of the zone for strike 1. That was a good pitch. A really good pitch to Corey Seager. I'm waiting for my base pads to update. They were working the other day. I hope they work again today. Here's the pitch. Outside, ball 1, 1-1. Yeah, they are working. It just came on. All right. It's a little slow. It's a little slow, like my brother. But it's all good. Here's the 1-1 to Simeon. Inside, ball 2, 2-1. Chris, I meant to tell you, who's supposed to win today? The Astros. They're supposed to win every day. What are you talking about? Here's the pitch. Simeon with the check swing. Did he go around? No, and it's just a little outside. 3-1 again. Very, very close. Yeah, we are favored to win, but that doesn't mean much. And Simeon gets hit by McCullers. I guess walking him with a fourth pitch wasn't good enough. He wanted to send a statement, so he hit him. Two runners on a 3-1 pitch. McCullers pegs Simeon. Adolis Garcia comes to the plate with 1 out, runners on first and second. Crowd boos a little bit. I guess they don't have any love for Garcia. I'm not a fan myself, but don't hate the man. It's fouled off. 83-mile-per-hour knuckle curve gets sent into the stands. Casey says, cheers, good game, Geaux Stros. Hope everyone has a good week or had a good week. Same to you, my friend. Yeah, that's right. The silver boot is about winning the overall series. Caratini's behind the plate today. He's getting ready to receive the next pitch from McCullers. Here it comes. The 0-1. Swing and a miss. 93 fastball above the zone. 0-2 to Adolis. Foxabat says, hi everyone, how I go? All the good vibes for Lance McCullers today. Time for the Astros to get back to winning ways. I agree. Really high fastball, but he doesn't go for that one. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Chris says, I wonder if Alt2 is having a dream about you. Altuve? Yeah, I think you meant Altuve. Maybe that was a typo. Maybe it was changed by your spell checker. That would be funny. Well, Altuve probably did. He probably had a dream about me, and he's like, man, I had this dream last night about this guy. I don't know who it is, but just kept dreaming about him over and over again. Here's the pitch. Fouled off at the plate. I don't know why the crowd was clapping. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Garcia. Barely able to hang on with that one. Chris, I do jot down and save some of my dreams. I do that. Here's the pitch. Check swing. Does he go around? No. Umpire says he does not. Another full count. Yeah, I need a new broom too. Hopefully the Astros can give me a reason to get one. I was thinking about getting a small broom just to hang up behind me instead of getting my big broom. It'd be funny to get an Astros themed broom. Caratini comes out to the mound to have a little chit chat with McCullers. So quick break here. Yep, Ace Lance is definitely back on the mound. And old dog, I appreciate you being here. Fox at Bat says he's got me on the audio, but the game on TV. I appreciate that. Johnny says, let's get this, mates. I'm right there with you. Here's the pitch. Strike 3. All right. Garcia goes down. I don't know what Caratini and McCullers talked about, but it worked. 87 mile per hour changeup, looks like. Garcia went after it. Boom. Nice movement. Came in high. Went down low. Right under the bat of Garcia. 2 away. McCullers trying to avoid the Gordon jam. The old-timey jam. Wyatt Langford at the plate. A little inside, ball 1. That's the Gordon jam, the old-timey jam. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Low and outside. 2 balls and no strikes to Mr. Langford. Sounds like the name of a character that lives out on the homestead with his family. Are you familiar with Wyatt Langford? You mean Langford on the Langford stead? Here's the pitch. Right on that outside edge. Good pitch by McCullers. 2 balls and 1 strike. Dreamsicle jerseys. Here comes the toss. Right in there and ripped to the side. Knocked down Paredes, who lunges for the base, but he can't quite get there. What a great stop by Paredes. It was ripped down the line. Paredes dove and blocked it. Look at this. On a 1 hop. He tried to get to the base to tag it. Pulled an Altuve there. Not quite as fast as Altuve. So we have bases loaded with the infield hit. 2 outs. Evan Carter at the plate. That first pitch is in the top of the zone for strike 1. So we definitely have ourselves a Gordon old-timey jam. 2 outs, bases loaded in the very first inning. McCullers gets through this. He can get through anything. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss. Nice half swing. That was a beautiful pitch. That knuckle curve fooled the pants off of him. 0-2. Man. Carter might want to check his britches after that one. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. A little too far and inside on that knuckle curve, taken for ball 1. Carter says he was hit. He's taking his gloves off and he's saying that he wants a review because he thinks he was hit. But there's got to be enough video evidence to overturn it. Now there's an issue going on the field. Crowd's booing. See what's going on. Okay. Texas is challenging the call. But from what I understand, they have 15 seconds to initiate a challenge. The Astros commentator said that 15 seconds had already passed. Should have been a delay with a strike given. But instead, they said that Texas did initiate a challenge. But it's got to be indisputable evidence, right? It's got to be clear because it was called a ball. No evidence there. Not on that pitch. Not on that angle, rather. The problem with this is that it has to be indisputable evidence to overturn the call. The call was ball. So unless it's obvious that it really hit his foot, this is a stupid decision. Let me correct myself. A faulty decision. It's a faulty decision. This is a case of the coaches trusting the batter, but the problem is there's no video evidence to overturn it. That's what they should have thought about, and they didn't. So far, there's no video evidence. Call on field stands. It's not a hit by pitch. The Rangers lose their challenge. Do you think so? So right off the bat, with bases loaded, 1 ball and 2 strike count. I don't know why he thought the camera would pick that up, even if it did hit his foot. It also could have been Caratini's glove to touch his foot. His glove was right there. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. It's grounded to third and foul. Count remains 1-2. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, Chris, I get it. I've spelled Altuve hundreds and hundreds of times on my phone, so it's gotten used to it. There we go. I hit in the wrong keyword. Here comes that 1-2 pitch, way outside and high. Ball 2, 2-2. Here comes the 2-ball, 2-strike pitch. That's hit hard to right field, all the way out to the corner. Just foul. Whew. Dangerous. Kept hooking, went right into the wall on the right side. McCullers dodges a yield bullet right there. Wow, the Astros already have their bullpen going. Can you believe that? He's up to 30 pitches right now. Here's the pitch. Line drive shot. Now that is going to get down and score at least 1 run, if not 2. Here it comes 2. Yep, Semien does score. That's 2 runs for the Rangers. So McCullers does not get out of the jam. 2-0 Rangers. Let's take a look at that pitch. Yeah, just hung over the plate. Can't leave that out there. But obviously, McCullers didn't mean to do that. McCullers is so hit or miss right now, isn't he? Josh Miller out on the mound to try to calm McCullers down, try to get buy a little time for the bullpen to warm up. Next batter is Jake Berger. Berger up on the mound with runners on the corners. 2 outs. 2-0. Astros been giving up a lot of runs in the first inning recently. Here's the pitch. Runner goes to second, no throw. Fake throw from Caratini. Runner's now on second and third with 2 outs. I kind of feel like I would have thrown that if he had a good enough opportunity, rather, if I can get my words out. I would have gone after him. Here comes the first pitch on the outside edge for a strike. Jake Berger down to the count 0-1. 30 pitches good. 30 pitches is not good. 30 pitches is way too much in the first inning. Here comes the next one. Little generous from the umpire there on the inside edge. Strike 2. Here comes the pitch. The replay pitch, rather. Here comes the replay. Can we look at it better? Chris, can you clarify that question? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Here comes the pitch. Two balls and 2 strikes to Berger. The count is even. Here's the toss. This is hit into left, or center field rather. Trammell comes in, puts it away for out number 3, and that's going to be it. But not before McCullers has to throw 35 pitches, as per the custom. McCullers doing basically 25 to 30 pitches per inning whenever he appears in a game. Giving up 3 hits and 2 runs. Astros down 2-0. So at home against the Rangers, the game not starting off the way we would prefer, but the Astros haven't had a chance to pick up the old wood yet, so hopefully they can show us something really amazing here in just a moment. Isaac Paredes is leading it off. Let's take a look at the Astros lineup right quick. Paredes, of course, at third base, leading off the Astros batting today in the first spot. Cam Smith in right field batting second. Jose Altuve is playing left field today, batting third. Christian Walker is back in the game, batting cleanup at first base. Caratini's catching today, batting fifth. Yainer Diaz is our DH, batting sixth. Mauricio Dubon is batting seventh, actually, playing shortstop, covering for Pena. Bryce Matthews in for the first time with the Astros at second base, batting eighth. And Taylor Trammell in center field, covering for Jake Myers, batting ninth. We got one guy in the lineup batting 136 with only a couple of hits. We got a guy in the lineup who hasn't even hit yet. Our second guy is a rookie. Our cleanup guy is a 243 hitter who gets streaky. Our leadoff guy is batting 255. Altuve has the highest batting order in the entire lineup right now, 272. So our best batting average in the lineup for today, his current average is just acceptable. We don't have one single stellar batting average guy in the lineup today. Jack Leiter is on the mound facing Paredes. Here comes the first toss, up and in for ball one. Amazing. Jay Paul thinks that McCullers should go to Sugarland for a little while, get a few starts. I would support that. I would support that. I feel like he needs to work out. If he can get his pitching count down and his ERA down, then that's a good sign. But right now, those are issues. Here's the pitch. Right in the zone, hits straight up in the air. That's going to be out of play behind the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike against Paredes. Hey, look at that. VentureCast is my first official member. Welcome to Space Commando. For those of you who don't know, I do have memberships available, and they are very affordable. It's a very small monthly fee, but it enables you to use the stickers, the custom stickers that I have. You also get a little badge next to your name. Higashioka's receiver isn't working with the pitch comm, so they're over there trying to scramble to get a new receiver to go in his helmet. Those badges change. By the way, guys, the longer you stay a member of my channel, the more the badges change. After 1 month, you get another badge. After 2 months, another badge. After 6 months, another one. After 1 year, another one. And then, and from there, every year after, you get a new one. Thank you so much, VentureCast, for joining. You're my first official member. Here comes the next pitch to Paredes. Right in the top of the zone. Strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes with that changeup. Fox, you said he loses focus with men on base. I think that his control is the problem. His control is, whether men are on the base or not, control has been his challenge. Outside and in the dirt, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Paredes. McCullers throws a ton of pitches, and many of those pitches come with runners not on the base, and many of them come with runners on the base. So I don't see a difference. I just see a guy struggling to control the ball and throw to the left of the shortstop. He rips it up the middle. We have a lead-off runner. The fast turtle gets on base. Nice rip on a sinker. No, that was a changeup right in the middle of the plate. That brings up Cam Smith with no outs, 1 runner on. Yeah, Lance is hit or miss. He's literally a coin flip right now. First pitch to Smith is fouled off. 97 mile per hour four-seam fastball. A little high, but not a bad pitch. Smith batting .286. Oh, actually, yeah, that's right. His batting average is a little higher than Altuve's, but we still don't have anybody batting .300 in this lineup. Too far inside for ball 1. The count is even. For those of you who don't know, when we have runners in scoring position, Cam Smith is our #1 guy. He got his batting average up to almost 400. That's insane. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Outside, good take, ball 2. 2-1. Yeah, Chris, you're right. Doesn't speak well for Lance McCullers, does it? Having the bullpen going. Yeah, in the first inning, it means that they're very aware. That's good, though. They're very aware that he might lose it quickly at any moment. Low and outside, 3 balls and 1 strike. So Cam Smith went after the high fastball and has laid off the next 3 pitches. Altuve, my hero, is on deck. Come on, Cam. Do your thing, bro. Here comes a pitch from later. It's hit high in the air and fouled into the crowd. Just as the crowd gets loud, he fouls it off. I really wanted to go to a Hiroshima Carp baseball game the other day. I was shopping at Costco, and they had a game starting next door. Could have gone. Here's the pitch. Upstairs, ball 4. Good check swing by Cam Smith. He doesn't go for it. The only 2 pitches worth swinging at, he fouled them off. The rest of the pitches were out of the zone. Good at bat. A single and a walk. Jose Altuve, in all of MLB, #1 in infield hits. 21 infield hits. Can you imagine? 35 years old, leading all of Major League Baseball in infield hits. He's still freaking awesome. Here's the pitch. Little high on that fastball. Foul tipped into the glove of the catcher. Strike 1. And he lost his hat. Yeah, 700 subs. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. The other day, it went up to 7, and then it went back down to 693. Some people came in and spammed early on. I don't expect that to happen today because I changed a couple of things. Low and outside, ball 1. Good take. The count is even. I had my subscription live chat set to 1 minute so you could join you hit subscribe, and then chat 1 minute later. I changed that to 5 minutes. This helps to deter spammers and scammers who are impatient. Here's the pitch. Fouled off, bounced down the third base side. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Altuve. Jack Leiter on the mound. Patrick says there's no way Lance can be on a playoff roster unless it's controlled. Yes. I spent a little time working on them with AI to create the badges and to create the stickers. I can change them if I want to, but I did discuss them actually extensively the other day with AI to come up with some ideas, and then worked on many designs. You have no idea how many iterations we have to go through before I'm kind of satisfied. Here's the pitch to Caratini. Little inside. That was close. Ball 2. Right on the inside edge. Could have been a strike, but Caratini did a little bit of acting there. 3 balls and 1 strike to the Batman. Diaz is on deck. He would be next. Here comes the toss. Too low and inside. He gets a walk. All right, how about that? By the way, this sticker is :Batman:. If you want to type that in. Got a few different ones. Maddox is coming out to the mound. Going to have a little chit-chat with Leiter. Astros have runners on the corners with 2 outs. It's 2-1 Rangers right now. Both teams have scored in the first. I agree with you, Patrick. You know, it's interesting because even though McCullers has been out for a long time with his injury, there's no reason to rush him. We have plenty of time. Let him work it out. You know, they need to find some kind of plan. You know, make a plan, set some kind of path to get him to where he needs to be to improve. Whatever that is, they need to work that out. Two-out rally, baby. Yeah, a big hit right here. Yiner's at the plate. Give him a shiner, Yiner. Here's the toss. First pitch a little inside, ball 1. Good take. Chris says you should have gone to see the Carps play. I wanted to. I really did, but there are 2 reasons why I didn't. There was a short rain, so there was a slight delay, which is not a big deal. I knew that the rain was going to pass, but that's not one of the reasons why I didn't go. Here's the next pitch. Outside, way outside. 2 balls and no strikes to Diaz. We've got runners on the corners, guys, here in the bottom of the first. Leader now is not close yet to McCullers in pitch count. He's up to 24, but he's slowly getting there. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. Fouled back by Yiner. 96-mile-per-hour stinker right in the top of the zone. 2 balls and 1 strike. But the one reason is because I was at Costco. I wanted to finish some shopping and come home. And it's about an hour-and-a-half drive from Costco to my home. The other thing is that I really just didn't want to spend the money yet. Fouled off. I have bills to pay. I have medicine to pay for. And some debts. I ran up my credit cards over the past couple of years, going to the hospital and paying for medicines and stuff, and I'm still paying that off every month. So unfortunately, I can't do too much. Shortstop and flipped to second base for the force out to get out number 3, and that's going to be it for the Astros in the first. But we do pick up 1 run off 1 hit. 2-1 Rangers over the Stros at the moment. But they get later up to almost 30 pitches. His pitch count creeps up there, not too far away from McCullers, so the Astros do make him work a little bit. Kind of disappointed there. I was hoping we'd see Bryce Matthews in the very first inning. How great would that be to go through the Astros line up all the way through the first time in the first inning with Bryce Matthews. But he'll be on deck in the second inning, guys, for those of you who are really interested to see him bat. I believe that his batting average in AAA was around 285 or so, maybe 283. It's in the 280s. So he wasn't doing too bad. Hopefully he'll be even better when he gets at the plate for the Astros. McCullers is at 36 pitches. He's going to be facing Jonah Heim, Kyle Higashioka, and Josh Smith. If anyone ever comes to visit, we can go see a Carp game together. How about that? But the team that they played the other day was a team that I really wanted to see them play. It's the Hanshin Tigers. And the Tigers, they are a very popular team in Japan. So many fans for that team were wearing their clothes. Whenever you go to Costco, it's literally next door to the stadium. So a lot of people go to Costco and pay for parking and then walk to the game. But they also allow you to bring in food. So a lot of people buy food like hot dogs and things and drinks or whatever from Costco and then carry them in a bag over to the stadium and then eat their Costco food while watching the game. So it's pretty cool. You're allowed to bring your food in from the outside. Here's the first pitch from McCullers to Heim. Outside and high for ball one. Heim batting lefty, 223 for the season. That pitch is a little high. Whew. Had to rip off a sneeze there. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. 85 right in the center of the plate. The changeup for strike one. Still waiting for my API on the screen to change. It's still showing Yiner at the plate, but clearly that is not the case. 2-1 is the count to Heim. Fouled off. Strike two. 2-2. They should bronze Altuve's arm. It might make him throw harder. Who knows? Yeah, old dog, I agree with you. He should go to AAA. No reason to be on the DL. Here's the pitch. The 2-2 fouled away into the stands on the right side. The count remains 2-2 to Heim. Patrick says there's a Costco in Japan. There are several, my friend. They're not all over the place like they are in the U.S., but there is one in Hiroshima City. High and outside, full count. More likes would be nice. McCullers was yelling for it. I got it, I got it, I got it. He wanted to make sure everybody knew he was going to take that one. That's one of the things I really do respect about McCullers, though. I mean, he does have grit. He goes out there and he keeps plugging away. But the other thing is that his defense, he really does take pride in being a defensive guy. Next pitch is in there on the outside edge to Kyle Higashioka for strike one. A nice 91-mile-per-hour stinker. Higashioka takes a timeout. He doesn't like all that sweat he's getting in the stadium right now. How long does it take for you to become a Japanese citizen? Well, Patrick, permanent residency and citizenship are two completely different things. One ball, one strike on that delivery. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. In the dirt. Another ball, 2-1. Patrick, if you want to become a Japanese citizen, that takes a really long time because citizenship means that you become a citizen of this country, and you can't be a citizen of another country if you become a citizen of Japan. So I wouldn't be able to be American and Japanese at the same time, but they do offer permanent residence. I could become a permanent resident while retaining my American citizenship. That takes much less time, and the answer to that question is it depends. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Grounded foul. Stays 2-2 against Higashioka. One away right now with the fly ball by Heim. Higashioka at the plate with the 2-2 count. McCullough up to 49 pitches with this next delivery. And he is delivering right now. Outside, full count. If you want to become or get a permanent residency, you can easily do that quickly by marrying a Japanese national. Here's the pitch. Foul down the first base side and into the crowd. Count remains 3-2. If you are a highly skilled person in an industry they really need, you can get that permanent residency much faster, less than 10 years, maybe 5 or 6 years. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. It's high, ball 4. He just walked him. Higashioka goes to first base. 51 pitches now for McCullers. One away and one runner on here in the top of the second. Back to the top of the batting order for the Rangers, Josh Smith, who actually kind of hurt himself over at third base earlier, trying to make that catch in foul territory. Here's the first pitch, right in there, strike one. Nice changeup. But for somebody who comes over here to Japan just teaching English or something like that, it would take a really, really long time to get permanent residency. Best way is to just find somebody to date, get into a good relationship, and get married, and then after several years of living here, you can apply for permanent residency. Foul ball by Smith. Strike 2. 0-2 is the count. The 54th pitch from McCullers on the way. Swing and a miss. All right, so a 3-pitch strikeout to Josh Smith. Bottom just fell out of that one. That's what he needed earlier on that RBI hit. He needed that much movement. Corey Seager comes to the plate with 2 outs, runner on first. First pitch on the way. Way up and inside. Ball 1. Anthony says, Streamer, what's your name? Streamer. I haven't been called Streamer too much. Here's the pitch. I'm not even sure how to answer that question anymore because I was giving out my regular basic name. 2 balls and no strikes to Corey Seager. But in most places online and everywhere else, I go by a different name. Here's the pitch. Grounded to the first base side, just foul. Strike 1, 2-1. But I guess if you want to call me by my basic name, you can just call me Brandon. Not Brandon Walter, by the way. Walter is not an ace, but he's got a much better arm than I do, that's for sure. 2 balls and 1 strike to Corey Seager. 2 outs, runner on first. Here's the pitch from McCullers. Fouled off, strike 2. The count is even. JRM is right. We got to make it through the injuries. Yeah, there's no reason to focus on excuses. Well, this happened and that happened and this happened. Well, let's just do our best. Let's focus on what we can do. 2-2 to Seager. Here's the pitch. High and outside, another full count. It was like pulling teeth, but I found out that Christian Walker had a baby boy. Oh, you were trying to find out if it was a boy or a girl. Okay, I see. I see. Here comes the next pitch. Right in there, strike 3. Got him looking. Seager goes down. I don't know if he's complaining or if he's like, yeah, I know, it was on me. It's hard to tell sometimes. Is the player complaining with the umpire, or is he just saying, yeah, no, it was my bad. I should have swung. It's hard to tell. I don't always want to assume that the batter is complaining with the umpire. Sometimes they're like, that was a good call, ref. You got it. That was a good call, ump. But there are times where you can tell very clearly they are not happy with the ump. They are complaining big time. Definitely faux show. Definitely faux show. Let's see here. Let's go back to the live chat for a moment now that we have a break. Mauricio Dubon is due up, guys, in just a moment. Followed by Bryce Matthews, his first at-bat for the Stros, coming up momentarily. And then Taylor Trammell. So the bottom of the batting order. Let's see if we can get it done from the bottom of the batting order today. Hey, old dog, thanks for the update. Seattle beating Detroit 4-1. I actually don't mind to see that because I want to see the Astros gain some ground on Detroit. Chris says, do you have to pay for parking at Costco? Yes and no. If there's no baseball game, then you don't have to pay for parking. Actually, you can leave your car there overnight. It's kind of funny. I've done that a few times when I've gone to the hospital, because if I have no intention on going back to my house, if I want to stay at like a capsule hotel, I can leave my van at the Costco overnight and let it, instead of paying for parking, I can just leave it there for free. But if there's a baseball game, that's different. If there's a baseball game that day, then there's like a 3-hour parking limit or 2.5 hours, something like that. That way people who come for shopping, they come and they do their shopping and leave, and they don't pay anything for parking. But people who come for the game and park at Costco and then go to the game and then come back to leave, they either have to come back within a certain amount of time to avoid having to pay, or they have to pay a modest fee. The fee is still not bad. It's still much better than parking anywhere else. So it's highly reasonable. So I hope that answers your question. Dubon is at the plate. Come on, Doobie-Doo. He doesn't swing at the first pitch, and wouldn't you know, it's right down the gut. 85 miles an hour on the slider. Let's work with what we got. I agree, old dog. Let's do eat. Here comes the 0-1 pitch from Leader. This is hit to center field. Is it going to drop? Nope. That's going to be right in the glove of the center fielder. He's able to float in plenty of time to get that one away, and Bryce Matthews coming to the plate. He's getting a very weak welcome by the Astros crowd. I was expecting much bigger than that. You got some applause going on, but everybody's sitting down, lethargically applauding. Come on, give him more than that, guys. Here comes the first pitch to Matthews. Right in there, 98 miles an hour, swing and a miss. He went after it. Didn't get it. That's a good first pitch to see in the MLB. 98 miles an hour, right in the top of the zone. 0-1 with one out, nobody on. 98 up and in, swing and a miss. 2 fastballs in a row to Matthews. He takes a little break, steps out of the box. That's another thing that it's a big adjustment for these young hitters, you know, to go from college using aluminum bats to adjusting over to wooden bats. Here comes the next pitch. Outside, ball 1. 99 miles an hour. Leiter is suddenly throwing his fastest pitches of the game. 98, 98, and 99. 1 and 2 is the count. Here comes the next toss to Matthews. Right in there, strike 3. 100 miles an hour in the bottom of the zone. Bryce Matthews strikes out on 4 pitches. 98, 98, 99, and 100. Boom. Welcome to the big leagues, Bryce Matthews. But if you're going to start off getting a taste, you might as well get a taste like that. Taylor Trammell comes to the plate with 2 outs, nobody on. Here's the first toss. Way outside. Holy cow. Later immediately goes back to the curveball. 81 miles an hour, 84 miles an hour. Very slow curveball outside. I like what Trammell's doing, waving his bat around at the bottom of the zone. Reminds me of Glenn Davis. That's in there for strike one. 1-1 to Trammell. Venture Cast says, sounds similar to Thailand. Most impossible to get citizenship or permanent residence. Almost impossible. Here's the pitch. 1-1. Check swing on the outside, and they say he went. That's strike two. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Venture says, I got lucky and got a 5-year visa. I can stay up to 180 days at a time, then have to reset. Oh, man. So every 6 months, essentially. About every 6 months. It's still annoying, but better than China. 100 miles an hour fouled back by Trammell. Count remains 1-2. In China, it's even more impossible. Getting citizenship would be basically 100% impossible. But China has some really ridiculous laws for foreign visas. I'll tell you about that in a second. Previous call by the umpire, low and inside, a couple inches below the zone. A terrible pitch to be calling a strike, but the umpire calls it, and that's out number 3 against Taylor Trammell. He owes us 1. The umpire owes us at least 1 right now. But we go into the top of the third. 2-1. Astros are down to the Rangers. Rangers have 3 hits. The Astros have 1. But what I was going to say about China, I lived there for almost 7 years, and I learned a couple of things about their visas. Now, for example, let's say you marry a Chinese lady, and you want to settle down and have a life in China. Well, you would think that you can just get a spouse visa, right? And you can. They do have a spouse visa. So if you marry a Chinese lady or a Chinese guy, you can get a spouse visa. But there are a couple of issues with that visa. Number one, it allows you to be in China, and that's all. That's it. It literally just allows you to be in China. It does not allow you to work. It does not give you work permission. It doesn't give you permission to run a business and make money. It literally just allows you to be in China. That's it. If you want to work, it doesn't matter if you're teaching English or if you're working in some other capacity or whatever, you actually have to get a different type of visa. You have to get a working visa. And you can't have a spouse visa and a working visa simultaneously. So you can only get one or the other. And it doesn't matter which one you get, because they still have to be renewed every year. Once a year, you have to reapply. Now, if you think that's bad enough, check this out. Can you imagine living in China and having a wife there and having a couple of kids and having a house, but the house can't really be in your name? It's like you've got your name on it, but it's in her name. Most things are hers. The kids are going to be mostly hers. If she wants to keep them and keep the house and run away, you're not going to get any legal support. Ball 1 to Marcus Semien from McCullers. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike. But here's the thing. You have to renew even your spouse visa every year, and they can deny it. Can you imagine being there for like 10 years and having kids there, and then suddenly they deny your visa just because? That's China. Very dangerous place to be, because things kind of depend on the emotions and the feeling, the whim of the government official you're facing at that time. So you never know what's going to happen. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here comes a pitch from McCullers in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Marcus Semien. In Japan, it's much, much better. If you get married here, you get not only the residency. Strike 3, right in the bottom of the zone. Good pitch by McCullers. Gets the strikeout on the 2-2 pitch. Semien goes down. 1 away. So if I were to get married within just a few months, I can go ahead and apply for my spouse visa. And the cool thing is, not only does it give me residency, but it gives me complete access to everything I want to do. I can have any job I want, any job in any industry. Doesn't matter. I can even run my own business. Outside. So just right off the bat, the spouse visa is light years beyond what you could ever get in China. 1-0 to Semien. Not Semien, I'm sorry, Garcia. That's also out of the zone. 2 balls and no strikes. There are many reasons why it's better to live in Japan. It's much easier to make a lot of close friends in China, though. I will say that. This is hit hard to center field, way out to the wall. Trammell is back, and that's right over the fence. That's going to be a home run for Garcia. Right to dead center field. A solo shot off McCullers. 12 home runs for Garcia this year. He hasn't been stellar at the plate, but apparently he has improved substantially since the beginning of the year. Once again, right in the middle of the plate, no movement. McCullers has been punished on those pitches today. If he could just stop doing that one thing, if he could just stop doing that one thing, you know, on the outside edge to Langford, and that's strike 1. Look how this just barely went over. Trammell tried to go up and get it. Got up there just a little late. Here comes the 0-1. Outside, 1-1. 1 out. 3-1 Rangers. Langford at the plate with a 1-1 pitch. That's in there. Strike 1. I'm sorry, strike 2. I meant to say that's another strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here comes the toss. Strike 3. Rung him up on the outside edge. 5 strikeouts for McCullers. If McCullers could stop leaving those one pitch, that's just that one pitch, if he could stop leaving that in the zone, he'd be having a great game right now. Next batter is Evan Carter. That'd be a ball high. 1-0. Here's the pitch. Outside. Ball 1. 2-0. I'm sorry, ball 2. 2-0. Venture, my current residency is like a medical special. It's a special visa. It gives me residency. I'm able to keep things going here with my life as far as my bank accounts and my activities and stuff, but I'm not allowed to work, and I don't have insurance, so I'm just here for medical treatment. Basically, I can live here, continue living here, go to the hospital. That's a strike. 3 balls and 1 strike to Evan Carter. 2 outs, nobody on. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. Outside and low, ball 4. He walked him. 2-out walk for McCullers. McCullers is now up to nearly 80 pitches. 77 pitches in 3 innings. Holy cow, that's a lot. This next pitch will put him at 26 pitches. 26 pitches per inning on average. Berger is at the plate. Throw over to first base. Carter is back. What in the world? Anthony, don't tell me to update the batter, please. I don't have any control over that. That's an MLB API. It runs automatically on code. So, off the glove of McCullough on that line drive from Berger. He fires it to first, but can't get him. McCullers tried to go after that one. He could have let it go. It was going to go straight to Bryce Matthews. Matthews is right back there. McCullers didn't know that. He tried to go after it. Unfortunately, all he succeeded in doing was knocking it down and giving Jake Berger an infield hit. Runners on first and second. The inning is extended instead of a ground out. Jonah Heim is at the plate with runners on first and second. Here comes the pitch. First one is right on the edge for strike 1. Yeah, that's right, old dog. You don't own the land in China. You lease it for a certain number of years, and then you can typically lease it again. The building is yours, but the land is not. And at the end of that, they can do whatever they want with it. If they don't want to release it to you, they can actually just take it away and tear down the building. So there's that. Okert is warming up in the bullpen for the Stros. The count is 0-1 to Jonah Heim. In Japan, there is land tax. It's called asset tax, but it's basically tax on your house and your land. Right in there, strike one. I'm sorry, that's strike two. I thought it was 1-0, but the count was already 1-1. Heim calls timeout. 1-2 with runners on first and second. Eva, if you're a Rangers fan, why are you in this chat? Why don't you go listen to a Rangers broadcast? Here comes the next pitch, the 1-2 to Jonah Heim. Fouled up. Is it playable? No, it's over the dugout. Count remains 1-2. Thankfully, I don't have to exit on any of my visas. All of the visas I've had so far in Japan are 1 year. So I can stay here through the whole year, or I can exit and come back if I want, but I neither have the money nor the I mean, I'd like to kind of travel. I'd like to go somewhere, but I just don't have the money to do that right now. And I got the Astros are already in the dugout, but 2 more runs score. 5-1 Rangers. That ball all the way out to right field. Cam Smith jumped up to get it. I wish I could show a replay to you guys, but they're not showing any replays. They went to commercial. They went straight to commercial. They quickly went to commercial. Heim was complaining that he didn't get tagged. And they're saying that he did. They didn't challenge it. They quickly went to commercial. The Astros came off the field. I'm not really sure what's going on, but I'm going to go heat up some water. I'll be right back, guys. Go Stros. Wow. I'm heating up some water for some more coffee, but in the meantime, I've got some nice chilled Earl Grey tea made with my very own mountain well water. And that was a crazy end to the inning, but the Astros are now down by 4. 5-1. The Rangers are leading with that double almost stretched into a triple by Jonah Heim. Isaac Paredes is at the plate, leading it off for the Stros. Takes that first pitch outside for ball 1. FDM says, how old are you? I'm older than 0 and younger than 100. Patrick asks, would you like to be a Japan citizen? I don't know, maybe. Here's the pitch. On the inside, but a strike. 1-1 is the count to Paredes. I believe that probably I would prefer to be a citizen here than to be a citizen in the U.S. And it's a complicated answer, but that's in there for strike 2. 98 mile per hour fastball. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Isaac the ball. I would really like to be out from underneath the U.S. government's thumb for different reasons. Not because of anything illegal, but just because of the way they've kind of screwed the people over the years. Just hit high into the air, might be playable. Third baseman is over Smith, and he grabs it. He's still kind of moving around like he's sore. He looks like he's still in some pain from going over the fence. One away. Cam Smith comes to the plate with nobody on, one out. Here comes the pitch to Cam. Way high, ball one. Yeah, you guys are talking about Philippines and Thailand. I mean, some of these places are popular. Nowadays, Vietnam has become much more popular to move to, but I can't do any of those places. That's high. Ball two. 2-0 to Cam Smith. I lived in Louisiana for too long, lived in southern Texas for too long. Those areas are just too hot and humid for me. The climate, I can't do the climate. Not during the summertime, not during the middle of the year. Swinging a foul ball down the third baseline by Cam. 2 balls and 1 strike. I'm fair-skinned, in case you haven't noticed. I don't really tan. I just get burned like a lobster. Can't stand the sun in that regard. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, low and outside. 2-2 is the count. So I have to limit my time outside. Here in this particular area, in Japan, it's not bad. Especially where I'm at right now in my house in the countryside. At nighttime, I just need one fan to keep the room nice and cool. These old houses are nice. Here's the pitch. Fouled off, 99 miles an hour. Count remains 2-2. Old Dog says, my issue with Thailand is they drive on the wrong side. English is not heard other than tourist areas. English second language in the Philippines, and the visa issue is much better. Yeah, but you know, even though the English is not so great in Japan, that's fouled off. Count remains 2-2 with Cam Smith. They've got English everywhere, English support everywhere. You can always find places and people to help you with that. But you want to learn the language, though, if you really want to connect and plug in with people, especially if you want relationships. Fouls it off again at the plate. That one bounces off the leg of the catcher, but he's all right. Count remains 2-2. I do own my house and my land here in Japan, and I own my car, but there's a land or asset tax that I pay once a year, and it's assessed based on the value of the property. Since mine's way out in the countryside, I pay a very, very low amount. Very low. Here's the pitch. Little low, good take. Full count. That was a really good take. Altuve on deck, one away. Here's the next pitch to Cam. Little outside, ball 4. Good at bat by Cam. He fouls off a ton of pitches. Takes that 99 mile per hour fastball just outside for ball 4. Now we have ourselves a 1-out base runner. Let's see if we can chip away at this 4-run lead that the Rangers have. 6 hits for the Rangers, only 1 for the Stros. Paredes' single earlier in the game. But Altuve comes to the plate, and anything can happen with Jose Altuve. A line drive shot. Altuve rips the first pitch, the very first pitch. Line drive rip to the third baseman, who catches it and throws Cam Smith out, who was too far off the base at first. Double play. I told you anything can happen. You never know. But Altuve launched a rocket off the bat on the very first pitch, straight at the third baseman. And we're done with the bottom of the third just like that. But Jack Leiter is up to over 50 pitches, so he himself is having a little bit of a struggle. averaging about 17 pitches per inning. So even though the Astros don't have but one run on the board, they're making him work generally. The third inning, the shortest one he's had so far. I'm interested to see if they're going to bring McCullers back out or if they're going to go ahead and replace him. We'll see. Eva is going in timeout for 30 minutes. And the reason why is because dropping comments that are useless. You're going to start calling the Astros trash Stros and talk about trash cans. You're going to come into this is my curated channel. I created this community. I built this community, and I curate this community. And I'm not going to allow somebody to come in here and just start saying hateful, rude comments about the Astros or Astros fans. Forget you and your attitude. So you're in timeout for 30 minutes. You have one more opportunity. If you come back into my chat dumping on the Astros again or dumping on the Astros fans, then you're permanently banned. Just letting you know. Enjoy your timeout. Steven Okert is on the mound for the Astros. Here's the pitch. Just a little low. Ball 1 to Kyle Higashioka. I had a feeling that they'd be replacing McCullers this inning, and I was right. Okert is on the mound in the 4th inning. Grounded foul just down the third baseline. 1-1 is the count. Yeah, that's the thing. You guys are right. You're making a good point. Every team cheats. Astros just got singled out. And because they're not the big market teams, they just keep having to deal with the crap. This wouldn't happen to the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Cubs. Wouldn't happen to any of those guys. That's a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Higashioka. He did have a walk against McCullers. Might have a strikeout right here if he serves him up some fried Okert. Here's the pitch. Ripped foul down the third baseline. The count remains 1-2. Juan says Ranger fans here are here because the game was not sold out, so not shown on Ranger Station. That is such a ridiculous rule, isn't it? Fouled off again down the third baseline. I don't mind Rangers fans being here. I don't mind that at all. It doesn't bother me. I expect other fans to be here, especially when there's no live play-by-play for their team. I get that. But what I don't get is fans coming in from other teams and then just they start trashing on this team, our team, and us. Strike 3. Okert gets the strikeout, so he serves up that fried Okert. Higashioka doesn't like it, but he has no choice but to eat it. Served up nice and hot. Plane to hanger, baby. 1 out, nobody on. Josh Smith at the plate. Let's see if his back gives him any issues here. He did strike out, I believe, his last at bat on 3 pitches. He takes that pitch on the outside, just barely on the outside for ball 1. I think my hot water is ready for my coffee. I'll get it in just a moment. Here's the 1-0 pitch. This is hit high into the air. Should be easily playable by Trammell. And it is out number 2. Next batter is Corey Seager. High fastball, ball one. I was able to run in there, get my hot water, and get back before the first pitch came in, but it was just barely. This is hit up the middle, a little trickle through the middle, and that's going to be a base hit. 2 outs, base runner on first base as Seager rolls it between Matthews and Dubon. I have learned some interesting things about dating some different cultures here. I will say that. You guys were, I think you mentioned earlier, Venture, that you had a girlfriend in Philippines. I guess she's amazing. So they're not going to let Okert pitch against Simeon. They're going to change him out for somebody else. Who are they bringing in? Don't know. Didn't see. But we'll see. Got a short break. While we wait for that change, I'll check out the live chat and see what's going on. But yeah, I've dated in China, I've dated in Japan, and I also dated a girl who's Vietnamese while here in Japan. I did go out a couple of times with a girl from Thailand who was here in Japan. She was here in Hiroshima, but I only saw her twice before she moved to Tokyo. She tried to stay in touch and message me sometimes. She was a pretty girl and everything, and she seemed nice, but I just didn't see how it was possible for us to continue talking and seeing each other, because I'm in Hiroshima and she was in Tokyo working for her cousin there, so there was just no way we were going to be able to continue unless one of us, since she had just moved there for work, there was no way she was moving back, and I had no intention of moving to Tokyo. I'd bought an old house here for renovations in Hiroshima, so neither one of us were planning on moving back. She tried to keep in touch with me, but I told her it was kind of unnecessary. And got into a couple of different relationships here in Hiroshima. I had a couple of different girlfriends. It's really sad because I had one relationship with a young woman who had been left by her husband. They had a son, and he left her, but there are different reasons why he left her. I don't know all of the reasons, but their son has a lot of behavioral problems, and she clearly cannot handle it. And I just couldn't be in that situation. She's such a nice girl. Gets hit high in the air to Trammell for out number 3, so that was the right call, at least right off the bat, to bring in Gusto. Mucho Gusto on the mound. We might see him for the rest of the game. Anyway, you want to hear something interesting, guys? If you want to hear something interesting about Japan, when you're here and you go on the dating scene, you join some dating apps and you start looking for a relationship, you start dating, start going out. If your intention is to get into a serious relationship, get a girlfriend and maybe head towards marriage and stuff like that, what you'll realize is that many of the women, and I'd say maybe at least 50%, and this is not an exaggeration, at least 50% of the women who'll contact you through those dating apps, whenever you meet, and you meet each other and you think, oh, she's wonderful, she's nice, or whatever, and then you'll find out more than 50% of the time she already has a husband. She's already been married. She has some kids, maybe young kids, and she really just wants to have a boyfriend or somebody on the side because her marriage and her life kind of sucks, and she's looking to have some good emotional feelings. That's happened to me so many times. I mean, I've been at Starbucks on a first date with a lady, just kind of a feel each other out, kind of, get to know each other date. And after we talk for a little while and they realize that, hey, I'm a pretty nice guy, I'm a safe guy and everything, then they say, Does it bother you if I'm married or I'm not divorced yet? And sometimes they'll play it off like I'm getting divorced. I'm gonna get divorced. I'm gonna get or I'm in the process of getting divorced. But they're not. They're not really. They're just saying that. That's happened to me several times. Christian Walker at the plate. A little check swing there. That was an easy call. Strike one. He definitely went around too far. But it's sad that that's such a big problem in Japan, I think. That so many men and women are looking for girlfriends and boyfriends even though they're married with kids because their marriages are so bad. How about that? Walker goes up the middle. So we got ourselves a leadoff hit. All right. Walker getting it done so far. Line drive up the middle. Welcome back, Mr. Christian Walker. Glad to see you continuing your hitting right now. Really happy about that. The Batman Victor Caratini comes to the plate with Walker on first base, no outs. Here comes the pitch in the dirt, ball one. My Vietnamese girlfriend, I guess if you want to call her that, we were together for just a few months, and she informed me out of nowhere that we were not in a relationship. She never intended to be in a relationship with me. Crazy situation. Here's the pitch to the Batman. Hit hard to right field all the way out. It might be gone. It's right over the fence. Holy freaking cow. Holy freaking cow. The Batman with a homer after Christian Walker singles back-to-back hits for the Astros. Caratini, man, he might wind up with a decent amount of home runs this year if he keeps going like this. Holy freaking cow. Holy cow. 3 hits now for the Astros and 3 runs on the board. Diaz at the plate. Fouls off that first pitch 99 miles an hour. 0-1. Yes, the Batman strikes again. VentureCast, by the way, now that you're a member, you can use the Batman emoji. You just type Batman, and hit enter, and it comes up on the screen. Here's the pitch. Outside. 1-1. So, and then Batman, and then but you run the colons together. Batman, no spaces. And you'll see what I mean. Here comes a 1-1 pitch to Diaz. Swing and a miss. 92 mile per hour changeup right in the zone. Bottom of the 4th, 5-3. What a game. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Yainer. Little tapper. He just kind of throws the bat out there and fouls it off. 99 miles an hour. How's my coffee looking? I need some more hot water in there. There we go. Anyway, my girlfriend before my Vietnamese experience she left me because of the blood clot in my leg. And speaking of leaving, Yainer has to leave the plate as he takes that pitch for strike 3. There's the Caratini homer right down the middle, fastball punished by Caratini. Just over the fence by a couple of feet in right field. Perfectly placed. Doobie is at the plate with 1 out, nobody on. Let's keep it going, man. Get on base for Bryce Matthews. Swing and a foul tip. 0-1 is the count to Doobie. Here comes the next pitch. This is hit high in the air to center field. Second baseman and shortstop are back. Short takes it, and that's out number 2. Bryce Matthews comes to the plate. Bryce Matthews, that is, with nobody on and 2 outs. We are not in the same division as the Indians, Venture. You know, Venture, if you ever want to take a trip over to Japan, that'd be much cheaper, I think, from the Philippines to here than going all the way back to Houston. That's in there for strike one. Of course, you know, you probably don't have any family here, but if you ever want to take a visit, come through Hiroshima, feel free to say hi. Maybe we can go catch a carp baseball game. Bryce Matthews' family's in the stands. Second swing, broken bat. 0-2, he's going to have to get a new bat. Jack Leiter is throwing nothing but 98-mile-per-hour plus fastballs to Bryce Matthews. 5 straight strikes, basically. No, he did take one ball last at bat. That's my bad. Here's the 0-2 count pitch. High and outside. That's what he did last time. 99 outside. Got a couple of strikes, threw one outside, and then he threw 100 miles an hour right down the middle in the bottom of the zone. Let's see if he does the same thing here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. I guess he feels like he doesn't want to give Bryce Matthews any opportunity to hit him. And it's kind of like my fastball against your bat. That's all he's throwing is fastballs. Here comes the 1-2. The same location pitch that he did to get the strikeout on his last at bat. Bryce Matthews strikes out looking again for the second time. 2 strikeouts in a row for Bryce Matthews. But Victor Caratini, the Batman, gives us 2 runs. It's 5-3. 7 hits for the Rangers, 3 for the Stros. Ryan Gusto should be back on the mound for the Stros in just a moment. He'll be facing Adolis Garcia, who has himself a solo homer. Yeah, Old Dog is right. Have you noticed? He says, have you noticed who's not in our lineup but will soon be enough? Soon enough to be? Yeah. I mean, Myers will be back. Alvarez will be back. Pena will be back. Can you imagine? Plus, we've got some other guys, some pitchers. For those of you who don't know, Myers is getting some action in the minor leagues. Not Myers. McCormick. Not that McCormick is a big boost to the Astros, but would you rather have McCormick in there or be forced to bring up AAA guys that really aren't ready? I mean, I hope that Bryce Matthews can do well, but would you rather see Altuve at second and McCormick in left field in this game, or Bryce Matthews at second and Altuve in left field? And I have to say I'd rather see McCormick right now. I'd rather see McCormick in the game, because even though he has not been an amazing player, he is more of an established MLB player than Matthews, right? So I'd rather see McCormick out in left field and Altuve at second base. That's my personal choice. But he should be back soon. Shouldn't be too long. Fincher says my girlfriend is Thai. Ah, okay. I see. Yeah, I knew a girl named B who's from Thailand. She was very sweet and very cute. But like I said, I just couldn't see having a long-distance relationship with somebody that was over 3 hours away. Basically 3 hours away by high-speed train. Garcia calls timeout after the 0-1 pitch. Now he's back in the box. Gusto's still on the mound for the Stros. Here comes the pitch. That pitch is outside for ball 1, and the count is even. Jackson, welcome back. Here's the pitch. Grounded to the third base side. Paredes has to barehand it, but he can't grab it. That's going to be an infield hit for Garcia. Lead runner is on with no outs. Gusto's last 6-inning outing was against the Dodgers. Man, he owned them, giving up 1 run in 6 innings. Pitch. to Wyatt Langford. Garcia moves to second base. Now we have what you would call a Gordon old-timey jam, is it not? With runners on first and second and no outs? I think so. Abel says, Rangers are another team I can't stand, but you won't hear me trash talk them. Yeah, I don't really, I don't see the point in trash talking. Here's the pitch. Evan Carter at the plate takes that first pitch in there for a strike. The curveball finds its mark. Runners on first and second with no outs. The Astros are down by 2, 5-3. 8 hits for the Rangers right now. 3 for the Astros. Gusto steps off the mound. A little disengagement action there. Venture says, I've met her family. Learning a lot about the cultures. Yeah, if you meet her family, it's starting to get pretty serious. Everybody's going to be thinking marriage for sure now. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. 0-2 to Evan Carter. Old Dog says same situation in China. Yeah, I lived in China. I lived in China for almost 7 years. I'm very, very versed on how things are there. A little low. Ball 1. 1-2. I had a girlfriend. I dated a little bit when I was first in China for about a year. Didn't turn into anything. And then after moving to another city, I got a girlfriend. We were together for a couple of years. Here's a pitch. Hit foul. Count remains 1-2. No outs. Runners on first and second. Evan Carter at the plate with a 1-2 count. Ryan Gusto on the mound. My second girlfriend in China, she and I were together for more than 3 years, and I wanted her to marry me and come with me to Japan. But her and her family wanted some crazy things in order to guarantee she'd be okay. Swing and a miss on the outside. 96 miles an hour. Four-seam fastball by Gusto. Put a little bit of extra beef on it there. Carter was not able to serve it up on the grill. 1 out. And speaking of grilling, Berger is now at the plate. Yeah. I can't help myself. Here comes the first pitch. Hits this one high in the air. It looks like it's going to be over on the right side. Walker runs over but can't quite get to it. It's going to be about 10 rows back into the crowd. Strike 1. Yeah, you do have to do your due diligence on the dating apps. It's not just that, Venture. There's some other issues. You know, there are the scammers. And then, of course, you know, in Thailand, you also have the issue of people being not women. It's a little infamous there, but it is a thing. Got a few of those here in Japan, but they're usually open about it from the beginning, so that's good. Here's the pitch. Gusto comes off the mound and fakes a throw to second base. A little disengagement action. Runners on first and second with 1 out. 0-1 pitch coming to Jake Berger. Swing and a miss. Nice pitch from Gusto. A high fastball in the top of the zone. 0-2. Gusto trying to fry himself up a Jake Berger on the grill. Absolutely, Abel. Let's go. Good job, Venture. I see you got the Batman thumbnail. Awesome. The thumbnail for the Gordon Old Timey Jam is J-A-M, just jam. Here's the pitch. High, ball 1. 1-2 to Jake Berger. Crispy says strikeout looking is the worst way to get out besides the double play. Well, you know, with the double play, at least you hit the ball, right? Grounding into a triple play would be the worst, because that would show how slow you are. Ball's in the dirt, 2-2. Venture says I usually fly through Taipei. Taipei, really? You don't ever fly through Tokyo? Or what about Hong Kong? Fouled back. I know that if you're going to go to Houston, one of the popular ways to go is through Hong Kong. But there's no reason to go through Hiroshima ever. Hiroshima is not a pathway to America. If you're going to fly to America, you'll go through either Tokyo or you'll go to Hong Kong in China. Even if you start from Hiroshima, you won't leave the country from here. You'll go to Tokyo first. This is grounded to the third base side, but foul. Count remains 2-2. But yeah, if you ever visit Japan and you want to come through Hiroshima, and this goes for anybody. If you ever come through Hiroshima and I'm here, I'm happy to show you around. From my house to Hiroshima Airport is actually a 45-minute drive, maybe 40 minutes. Less than an hour drive to the high-speed train station. Only a 40-minute drive to the local train station. Oh, an hour and a half to the city. Here comes the pitch. Fouled off again by Jake Berger. Count remains 2-2 with 2 runners on. 1 away. A double play ball here would be really nice, Mr. Gusto. Do your best. Give us some mucho gusto. Mucho gusto. Mucho gusto. Here's the pitch. Isn't it funny the Astros have so many new guys? We see Zach Short get his first double play recently, and now we see Bryce Matthews get his first double play. Astros with so many injuries and so many shufflings going around in the lineup. But Gusto gets the double play and shuts down the Rangers' bid for extra runs. Thank goodness gracious, because the Astros finally chipped away a little bit at that lead. We are only down by 2. And they were able to hold, man. The Astros defense once again gets it done. Culture of D, baby. C of D. Maybe that's what we can call the Astros COD. Culture of defense. All right. 9 hits for the Rangers, 3 for the Stros, 5-3. Astros with fewer hits but more efficiency in their scoring ratio, hit to scoring ratio. Taylor Trammell is due up, followed by Isaac the Ball Paredes and Crank It Up Cam Smith. Almost 70 pitches for Jack Leiter. He should be back up on the mound here in just a moment. Old Dog says Seattle is beating Detroit 8-3. I'm okay with that. I'm more interested in catching Detroit right now than I am Seattle catching us. Don't have to really worry about Seattle as long as the Astros keep winning. If they win, then it doesn't really matter what Seattle does. But we need Detroit to lose for sure in order to catch them and pass them up. Chris says, I've always wanted a collection of baseball players like Caratini and Berger so I could open a baseball-themed restaurant. Yeah, the Caratini Martini. I'd like to order a Caratini. All right. Trammell is at the plate. Here's the first pitch. Outside, swing and a miss. 96-mile-per-hour fastball, strike 1. Come on, Trammell. We need you right now. He's 0 for what today? Batting 130 for the season, 0 for 1. Here's the pitch. Right in there, 89 miles an hour on the changeup. 0-2, just like that. Trammell calls timeout. Jeremy Pena over there in the dugout. And he's in the dugout every day. So waiting to see how fast he can heal. Grabs it. Paredes got too far underneath that one. He needed to get it down lower to have a chance for it to get down. Out number 1. That's interesting. Cam Smith at the plate with Trammell on second base, 1 out. Here comes the pitch. In the strike zone. Check swing by Cam, but it doesn't matter. That's right in there for strike 1. Chris says, are ladyboys what I think they are? Yes. In the U.S., I guess what you would call transgender. But yes, they are what you think they are. On the outside edge, taken for strike 2. 0-2 against Cam. Cam batting .354 currently with runners in scoring position. It has come down just slightly, but still really good. We need him to be a little more aggressive right now instead of taking those strikes. He swings finely, but at a 99-mile-per-hour fastball right above the zone, and he strikes out in 3 pitches. So Cam looking like a rookie today. Let's see if Altuve can channel his inner veteran and bring us in a run or 2. Show Smith how it's done. Be the leader for these guys. I know that we ask you to do it over and over and over again. It's almost not fair, but there are a couple of reasons why we do that. Number 1, we need you, Altuve. Number 2, you have the capabilities. 1 ball and no strikes to Altuve. Takes that first pitch out of the zone. Next pitch from later on the way. Ooh, 90 right in there. A changeup, swing and a miss. This is one batter, you know, that pitchers, whether they admit it or not, they don't really like pitching to. They're a little afraid of. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Altuve. Outside, ball 2. It's funny how somebody like Bryce Matthews comes up there and they'll just throw just fastballs at him over and over again. They wouldn't do something like that to Altuve. He'd figure it out fast. 2 balls and 1 strike. Here comes the pitch. In the dirt. It bounces to the backstop. Trammell is easily gonna be able to trot over to third base. So, passed ball. Runner advances. On the wild pitch there from Jack Leiter. Grilled ribs sounds delicious. Old Dog says it'd be nice if Seattle did like the Astros did to the Dodgers and swept Detroit in Detroit. Yeah, how awesome would that be? I'd be okay with that. Here comes the pitch from Altuve, 3-1. Way high. That's a walk. Altuve doesn't really get anything to swing at. There was only 1 pitch in the zone, and he went after it. But the rest of them were all non-competitive pitches. Altuve walks. We have runners on the corners with 2 outs. And that brings up Christian Walker. Walker does have a hit this game. Yeah, all these newbies. Definitely, Chris. We got a lot of newbies. Maddox is out on the mound having a little chit-chat with the pitcher and the catcher. Umpire on you. The rest of the game is on you. Runners on the corners, 2 outs. Christian Walker at the plate, about to get his first pitch. 80 pitches this game for Jack Leiter. They break up the meeting finally on the mound, getting ready to go. Yeah, Mark, I hear people saying Leiter and leader, kind of different pronunciations, so yeah, somebody mentioned that earlier about the son of the former left-handed pitcher. Here's the pitch to Walker. Right on the edge, strike 1. Oh, and 1 the count to Walker. Hey, Caesar, welcome back. Good to see you. Right on the outer edge, 98 miles an hour, strike 2. Walker is complaining. He's saying a lot to the umpire there. I'm not sure if he's complaining about himself or the umpire, but you can't really complain about those pitches. Those are close. 0-2. Come on, Papa. Give us some daddy power, some Papa power. Runners on the corners. We need to drive in at least one run, if not more, right here. Here's the 0-2 pitch. In the dirt, ball 1. 98 mile per hour fastball. Missing down low. That was kind of dangerous. In the dirt like that, Trammell would have been able to easily score if it had gotten by. It might be a good time for Altuve to steal. You never know. 1-2 is the count. 2-out rally. Peanut butter. Christian Walker literally stands there and takes 3 strikes in the same exact spot on the outside edge. None of those were out of the strike zone. They were all on the edge of the zone, and he was complaining about them. But the only thing he should be complaining about is his inability to swing the bat at balls that were close. How many times do we have to deal with that as Astros fans to watch this team, not just the new players, but some of these more experienced players like Christian Walker just stand there and take pitches on the edge of the zone, in the top of the zone, on the inside of the zone, again and again and again. They can't afford to do that. They have to be looking to swing the bat. It's like they're looking to get a ball. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for a ball. They're expecting a ball. And when the ball is coming in that fast in the major leagues, you cannot be expecting a ball. You can't be expecting that. You should be expecting to swing the bat every time. And you start the motion. That's the way batting works. Every single pitch, you start the motion of swinging the bat. You have to start the motion of swinging the bat because you don't have time to wait and see what the pitch is and then decide to start your motion. If you do that, you've waited too long. So whenever the pitcher is getting ready to throw, he's in his windup, you actually have to start your motion to hit the ball. And then, if it's not in the strike zone, you hold up, you don't swing. But if it's in there, you swing. But he was standing there like he wasn't going to swing at anything. That's not what a hero does. A hero doesn't come into a battle saying, I'm going to hold my weapon, but I'm going to expect that like an arrow hits my enemy before he has the chance to attack me. And then you just stand there? I don't think so. Gusto back on the mound. First pitch is high in the zone for strike 1. Jonah Heim at the plate with a double today. 2-run double. Here's the pitch. That one is a little too high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Yes, Crispy, you're right. That's what too many of our players are doing. Just staring at strikes, especially when we really, really need it. By the way, the game that we lost against the Guardians the other day, the Astros had runners in scoring position 20 times when they didn't score. 20 times. That should give you an idea of how many pitches they're looking at that they should be hitting and the ones they're not hitting when it matters most. That's fouled off. 2 balls and 2 strikes, the count to Jonah Heim. Patrick, you said our hitters need to learn to hit opposite field. I think our hitters just need to learn to swing the bat. They need to swing the bat a little more. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Speaking of swinging the bat, 96 miles an hour, about half a foot out of the zone. There, did he go around? They say no. I think it was obvious that he didn't go around. Ball 1. Yeah, strikeout. Couldn't put it on the grill. Gusto put it on the grill. Out number 2. Nice quiet inning so far. Anthony says Rangers has this. I guess you mean Rangers have this game. Well, they have it right now, but they don't have it tonight. They're only up by 2, so I disagree with that. They have it so far, but we still have several innings left. Here's out number 3. How about that? 3 up and 3 down. Gusto, after coming in, has been pretty solid. He only needed 8 pitches to finish off the 6th inning. The Astros are due right back up. No rest for the weary. 84 pitches for Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter, who probably will be back up in just a moment. Victor Caratini, the Batman, due up. He's got a home run today. He's 1 for 1. Yainer Diaz on deck, and Doobie in the hole. Patrick says they're looking to pull everything. Yeah, some of the Astros batters are looking to pull things. I wouldn't say that they're all doing that. I mean, you can't, like Patrick, when you say our hitters need to learn to hit opposite field, that's an overgeneralization, because Yainer Diaz often goes opposite field. Taylor Trammell hasn't hit the ball very much, but most of his hits have been opposite field. And who else goes opposite field? Sometimes Dubon goes opposite field, although Dubon he swings at most first pitches. He swings too hard sometimes. He tries too hard sometimes. Whenever Dubon relaxes, he does much better. Victor Caratini often goes opposite field. So whenever you say that, you make it sound like the whole team is always pulling the ball, and that's not really accurate. Some hitters, yes, but not all. Like Paredes. Paredes is a big pull hitter. Everybody knows that. We're not going to teach him to go opposite field, and we don't need to. He hits it into the Crawford boxes, then we're okay with that. He's a pull hitter. Everybody knows he's a pull hitter. He basically never hits anything to right field. But why work with him on something that doesn't really matter? Just play to his strength, I think. And the other comment there about they're looking to pull every. I don't think that the other flies it out to left field. There's an opposite field fly ball, but unfortunately it was caught for out number 1. 1 away here in the bottom of the 6th. 85 pitches now for Leiter, and Yainer is at the plate. And Fred is right. It is early. We're just now halfway through the game. Got 4 more innings. Got this one. 3 2/3 more inning. Here's a pitch to Yainer. Low, ball 1. Good take. Abel says, I just got my shirt. Hate us and kiss my Astros. Funny. Iobo says, Go Stros. Well, the line drive hit, his first hit of the day. And the Astros have a runner on with 1 out. The tying run comes to the plate. Good, solid, high fastball hit by Diaz. But they're not going to let Leiter pitch to Doobie. They're going to take him out. The day is over for Jack Leiter, courtesy of Yainer Diaz. Bocce is headed out to the mound. All right. Astros going to have a new pitcher to deal with. 1 out. Yainer on first base. Doobie at the plate. And Bryce Matthews in the hole. Just maybe, the 6th inning is all Stros all the time. Welcome to Late Night Stros, where it's all Stros all the time. It's the 6th inning, and you know what that means. It means the Astros are about to go gangbusters. In other words, dogpile on the Rangers. There's nothing like some lukewarm coffee. Whew. Man, oh man, oh man. Let's see here. Did clear 700 on the subs. Let me share that with you guys. So we did get over 700, so thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. The other day, in our last game, at the beginning of the game, had a lot of people come in who were basically spammers. They were saying the same comment over and over again, but they were saying it about different teams, just different users about different teams. And I realized that I had my live chat settings too generous. People could subscribe and comment within basically 1 minute, and I changed that to 5 minutes, and I'm even thinking about changing it to 10 minutes. And the reason is because scammers don't have a lot of patience to be hanging around. See, right now people are deliberately changing the subscription thing to make the number on the screen change. That's what happened the other day. But the other day, it went from I think I had below 690 to over 700, and then back down to 693. So a lot of those scammers left the chat. Doobie is at the plate. Little half check swing line drive caught at first. Holy cow, that was almost a double play at first base. That little half swing was caught by the first baseman, but luckily nobody was able to cover first base fast enough to get So Bryce Matthews has been at the plate twice, 2 strikeouts. He swings and misses that pitch. Sean Armstrong is on the mound now for the Rangers. Here's the pitch to Matthews. Another swing and a miss. 93 miles an hour on the fastball. He can't connect. Matthews has taken so many strikes today. 8 strikes in total, 2 strikeouts, and now he's down 0-2. Here comes the pitch. Fouled off. Stays alive. Two outs, Yiner on first. Big opportunity for Matthews right here to keep the inning going, man. We need you, bro. Do your best. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Way outside, ball 1. Armstrong on the mound for the Rangers with a 3.35 ERA. Right-handed pitcher. Matthews, a right-handed batter. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. High, ball 2, good take. That evens the count, 2-2. Diaz still on first base, 2 outs. 65 people, it looks like, listening in right now. Thank you for being here. If you're driving somewhere, be safe. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Matthews. Outside, ball 3. Full count. Good take. First full count for Matthews. "41 likes on the stream." That's pretty low compared to normal, but view count on the stream is not very high. I'm kind of surprised. Now in the top of the zone, Matthews has not shown an ability to get the ball on the, or the bat on the ball rather. 3 strikeouts today. Struck out twice against Leiter. Struck out again by Armstrong. 3 up and 3 down for Matthews. Unfortunately today, a less than stellar start-off performance. Defense has been okay from what I can tell. Other than that, definitely needs some work. But, you know, welcome to the MLB, I guess you could say. Ryan Gusto most likely will be back up on the mound, I would guess. I'm not sure that the Astros are going to switch over already to another pitcher. Maybe they'll go with Gusto in the 7th and then have a couple of relievers coming in from the 8th inning. We'll see. We will see. But anyway, I did want to share this with you guys on the screen. My goal, mostly decided by you guys. Now, I still think that the goal is too high. I always thought that this goal was a little too high. And I have a feeling that we're not even going to get to 800. Because I was thinking about changing my goal to 800 before. But when you guys voted, you said we should go for 1,000 by 1,000 subscribers by the start of the second half of the season. And so that's what I changed it to. My initial goal was 700, but when I realized that one would definitely be doable by the end of the season, I realized that the goal should be changed. And so after we voted on it, by a thin margin, you guys decided 1,000. And so that's what we went with. But we are 300 away from that goal right now. So if you haven't subscribed already, or if you have some friends that are interested in the Astros and like the live play-by-play, feel free to let them know about my channel. The count is 1-0 now to Corey Seager. The first pitch from Gusto is a ball. Here comes the next toss. Fouled off. Strike one. The count is now even. Crispy says, not impressed by Matthews so far, but it's his first game, and hopefully the batting coaches really worked with him to improve. Yeah, and I don't know how much time he's going to have to improve. If McCormick comes back, he could go right back to the minors. Here's the next pitch. Too far inside, but maybe less than an inch. 2 balls, 1 strike to Corey Seager. But yeah, I would say that I'm definitely not impressed with Bryce Matthews so far. I mean, anybody can get up there and strike out 3 times. Here's the pitch. Low and inside, ball 3. 3-1. Gusto uncharacteristically getting behind in the count. There comes the 3-1. Right in there, fouled off. The 87-mile-per-hour changeup goes off into the stands, and we have ourselves a full count. Rush plays. Yeehaw, partner. Welcome down to Texas. Here comes the full count pitch. Outside, ball 4. Seager walks. Leadoff walk by Gusto here in the top of the 7th. Yeah, old dog, you're right, because now the reliever Armstrong wasn't throwing as fast, but Leiter, he was only throwing 98, 99, and 100 to Matthews. Here's the pitch to Simeon. That's in there for strike 1. Yeah, Leiter had something. He had a grudge there going on against the rookie. He didn't. He threw 1 changeup 1 time to get him looking. Here's the pitch. Whoa! Did he hit him? Yes, he did. Or did it hit the bat? That's off the bat. Whew! Luckily, man, I thought that hit him for sure. Look at this. Woo! Man. That hit the knob of the bat. I thought it hit off his hands. He's lucky. He's lucky, lucky, lucky. 0-2. The strike is not lucky, but he's lucky he didn't get hit on his hand. That could have crushed some bones. Fouled off. He stays alive. Goodness gracious. Hey, Jordan, welcome back. Let's go Stros indeed. Let's go Astros. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Runner on first, no outs. Gusto gets him to swing, but he fouls it back again. 0-2 again. A lot of talking going on in Daikin Park. Crowd is a little restless. A little bit of hum going on, but waiting for something good to happen for the Stros. Here's the pitch. Fouled off again. Seager on first base with a leadoff walk. 0-2 count against Marcus Semien, who's 0 for 2 today. McCullers was out after just 3 innings. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. 95 right in the center of the zone. Semien goes after it. Can't handle the truth. Gusto cooks up another strikeout. Puts a little mucho gusto on it. Silver boot mug. That'd be pretty cool to get. I wouldn't mind having one of those. Somebody want to go down to the Daikin Park, grab me one of those silver boot mugs and ship it over to Hiroshima? I would not object to such an action. Adolis Garcia is at the plate. He gets more booze than Altuve does whenever they're in Arlington. Fouls that one off for strike 1. Man, the Astros fans really can't. I mean, I don't like Garcia, but I don't really have anything against him. Maybe if I'm at the park, I'll let go a little bit and just join the booze just for fun, but I personally don't care one way or the other. I just want them to get him out. Here's the 0-1 with 1 out, runner on first. Here's the pitch, puts it away, out number 2. Seager and the silver bullet band go back to first base. Wyatt Langford is the next batter. Runner on first with 2 outs. Here comes the toss. That's crushed to left field. That's going to be gone. 7-3. Very first pitch. Wyatt Langford from the Langford homestead rips it, a no-doubter, straight into the Crawford boxes in left field. Nobody even had to move on that one. It was just instantly known to be gone right off the bat. Right off the bat, right in the middle of the plate, absolutely no movement at all. Every time the Astros pitchers have done that today, they've been punished. Right in the middle of the plate, no movement. The Rangers have not wasted those pitches. 7-3. Astros, every time they try to come back, the Rangers come right back and tack on a couple of more. Astros come back, they tack on a couple of more. They just won't let them get close. First batter, the next batter rather, Evan Carter is at the plate. That's in there for strike 1. First pitch was a ball. It's 1-1. Man, what a game. 10 hits for the Rangers now and 7 runs. Astros with 5 hits and 3 runs. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Right on the inside edge, strike 1. First runs given up by Gusto today. Now every Astros reliever has given up some runs. Okert and Gusto, McCullers. Here's the pitch. Way high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I really need to build myself a kitchen cabinet today, a sink cabinet. Here's the pitch. In the dirt. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Evan Carter is laughing about that one because he thinks it hit him in the foot again. But this time he's not saying anything about it. I guess he learned his lesson. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. 4 strikeouts there. But the 2-run homer gives the Rangers 2 more runs. 7-3 at the end of the top of the 7th. Astros crowd very lethargically sitting around right now, not very happy. Some going out of the stands now to go get some food. Maybe to go home. A little disappointing. Down by 4, but we still have 3 more opportunities. 3 more opportunities to get some runs on the board. And we can definitely do it against this team. I think we can do it. If we can get some timely hits from our best players, that would be just what the doctor ordered. Well, Crispy, I don't necessarily agree with you. I don't think that leaving Gusto in there had anything to do with making bad decisions. I disagree with you on that. I think that Gusto was doing just fine. He just left 1 pitch over the plate, and they made him pay for it. But otherwise, he's been pitching really well, and he doesn't have many innings. You know, he only pitched 3 innings. The fifth, the 6th, and the 7th. Usually he's a starting pitcher, and he can go 6 innings, maybe 7. So I don't think that's too much to ask of him. Why bring in King in the 7th if you don't have to? You know, we still have 2 more games to play against the Rangers. You don't want to burn out. You don't want to burn out King and Abreu and Hader right off the bat. You know, you don't know what's going to happen when you're down by 2. Chris, I see what you're saying, Brian Gusto, and you're saying it's pronounced like Gusto, and that's what I was saying originally because, you know, mucho gusto. But the commentators have been calling him Gusto this whole time for every game. And so I'm just going on what they're saying. The Astros commentators are calling him Gusto. Because I'm well aware that typically Gusto is pronounced like in the Spanish way. Like mucho, like you said, mucho gusto. Trammell is at the plate. 0-1, and he lines it on the 2nd pitch straight to the second baseman, who catches it for out number 1. So I'm gonna keep saying Gusto just because that's what the Astros commentators are saying, and I trust them. The word gusto is pronounced "oo." The word gusto is definitely a Spanish word, but until I hear Gusto himself say that it's gusto, I will not say gusto. Unless I'm making a joke, if I'm saying mucho gusto. Here comes a pitch to Paredes. 2 straight balls to Paredes. 2-0 is the count with 1 out, nobody on. Come on, big hit. Paredes, you haven't done much of anything today. He has a single, a leadoff single, but that's it. Here's the pitch. Right in there. Strike 1. 2-1. Come on, Isak the ball. Here's the toss. Half swing check. Fouled off. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Astros might lose 4 in a row if they don't start hitting the ball right here. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Outside, ball 3. Good eye there. Here comes the full count pitch. Even after the delay, that's another double play for the Rangers. That ends the inning. We go straight to the top of the 8th. So the Rangers seem to be getting all the breaks like the Astros were getting against the Dodgers. They're getting the hits. They're getting the runs. They're getting the lucky plays. They're getting the easy outs. They're getting all the good stuff. The Astros are getting the scraps right now. And on top of that, the Astros just aren't performing and batting and swinging when they ought. The performance is just not there. And I know that we got several new guys on the lineup or in the lineup. I get that, but even our main guys just aren't doing it when it matters most. That's unfortunate. 7 innings of baseball are over. 10 hits for the Rangers and 6 for the Astros. The score is 7-3 Rangers in Daikin Park. No errors in this game. Defense has been pretty good overall. Apart from the pitching on the Astros side. Astros pitching continues to be the biggest problem over the past 4 games. Well, we had one game where the pitching wasn't the problem. But pitching has been a consistent issue since the Dodgers series ended. Pretty crazy. Who'da thunk it, right? 8th inning coming up in just a moment. Yeah, we had a couple of double plays. By the way, Chris, just so you know, Ryan Gusto's name is not a Spanish name. Pronunciation online says it's Gusto. It's not pronounced in a Spanish way because his name is not a Spanish name. And so if you say Gusto, then you're giving his name a Spanish pronunciation, not an American English pronunciation. So there's no reason for it to be Gusto, unless he just chooses for it to be Gusto. But based on what I just researched online, the Astros announcers are correct. It's Gusto, Ryan Gusto. Speaking of Gusto, he's still in the game. 1 out. Duran goes down right off the bat, and now Heim is at the plate. Takes that pitch in there for strike 1. The count is 1-1. Anthony, you're going into timeout for 5 minutes, sir. You know why? Because I don't like all caps by trolls. Don't be a troll. So enjoy your 5-minute timeout. That is another strike delivered by Gusto. The count is 1-2 to Jonah Heim. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Way high and outside. Count is even with 2-2. Nobody on, 1 out. Gusto up to 53 pitches now. Here comes the pitch. Low and inside, bounces off the dirt. Full count. Yes, Chris, maybe Evan Carter needs some steel-toed shoes. Steel-toe cleats. I have 3 pairs of sneakers that I wear that are steel toe with metal bottoms. But the reason is because this old house that I live in, when I'm walking around here doing stuff, I need to keep my feet protected. You know, the problem for out number 2. Good solid play by Smith. Okay, Chris, I see, but the conversation on Gusto is over. I don't care so much. I'm just saying that the Astros announcers say Gusto, so that's what I say, and that's good enough for me. Unless I see good reason to say otherwise, then I'm going to keep it where it's at. Here's the pitch. Ground ball to third. Long throw by Paredes, but they say it was foul, so they'll have another pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike is the count to Higashioka. Yeah, I'm not going to bicker about Gusto's name. Who cares? Jordan is a glass house, says Shake. A lot of big guys are. A lot of the big guys are pretty fragile. Kind of interesting when you think about it. You think of these really big guys as big, tough, and strong, but they get injured rather easily, don't they? That pitch is outside for ball 2, 2-1. There comes the pitch in the dirt. 3 balls and 1 strike with 2 outs, nobody on. The 60th pitch of the game coming for Gusto in just a second. Higashioka at the plate. It's funny because Higashi in Japanese means east. And that's a hit right up the middle. So no clean inning here for Ryan. Josh Smith due up with 2 outs, runner on first. I live in Higashi, Hiroshima, actually. And Higashi means east. So I live in East Hiroshima. Higashi, Hiroshima is considered a city. Not just the east part of Hiroshima, but a city in Hiroshima Prefecture. First pitch to Josh Smith is in there for strike 1. A nice fastball, 93 miles an hour. Smith is 0 for 4 tonight, a line out, his last at bat. Here comes 0-1 pitch. He hits that one right up the middle. That's going to be into the gap. Should move the runner over to third, and it does. Smith brings it in. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. Is this going to be a mound visit by Josh Smith? I think so. 2 outs with 2 runners on suddenly. You want at least a mound. I think now would be a good time. Corey Seager at the plate, top of the batting order. 2 outs, 2 runners on. Give Gusto a little break, you know, but no. They're going to go right into it. Here comes the first pitch to Seager. High and outside, ball 1. Nobody warming up in the pen yet that I could tell. But I think that they might have. They were showing a tablet to Abreu, but he wasn't actually warming up. I didn't see anybody warming up. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Outside again, ball 2. Kind of wondering about the Astros right now, what they're doing with their pitching coach and their coaching. Here comes the toss. Too far inside, ball 3. They gotta have a meeting on the mound if he walks him right here. 3 balls and no strikes. They need somebody warming up in the pen, and they definitely need to have a meeting on the mound if he doesn't get Seager. Here comes the 3-0 pitch. Outside and high, ball 4, a 4-pitch walk. They should have already come out to the mound to have a meeting. Now we've got bases loaded with 2 outs. We had 2 outs with nobody on, and now we have bases loaded with 2 outs. Miller finally coming out to talk to Gusto. 3 batters too late, my friend. At the very least, you should have come out on that last hit. Sometimes Josh Miller, I think he's, like I said before about some other players, you know, occasionally you see some players that do some things that the coaching make some decisions that are kind of like a coin toss, you know, whether they'll get it right or get it wrong. It's like a coin toss, and I feel like Josh Miller a lot of times is like a coin toss. Is he going to come out when he should and talk to the pitcher, or is he going to wait too long? I think this is a good example of waiting too long. Yeah, old dog, it feels like it, you know, doesn't it? I mean, I'm not saying it was, but it sure does feel like it. Caleb Ort now is going in the bullpen for the Astros. Bases loaded, 66 pitches for Gusto. Here comes the toss. Just a little high, ball 1. Marcus Semien at the plate. So this is the situation that the coaches have gotten the Astros into in Gusto. Bases loaded, 2 outs with Semien at the plate. Fouled off. Walker is over there. Is he going to be able to get it? No, it's about 4 or 5 rows into the crowd. Strike 1. Well, I'll definitely concede that more than likely the Astros won't win this game, but I wouldn't say that it's over either. I wouldn't say that. Here's the pitch, the 1-1 on the inside, swing and foul tip into the glove of Caratini. 1 ball, 2 strikes against Marcus Semien. That was a pretty good pitch. Look at that. More of that, please. 1-2. 69 pitches. Here comes the 70th. Here's the pitch. Outside and high. I don't know what was going on there. Caratini was doing a lot of motioning. Caratini was trying to get Gusto to step off the mound, but Gusto went ahead and threw the ball anyway. Here's a 2-2 pitch. High. Full count. Bases loaded, guys. Full count. 2 outs. Semien at the plate. Gusto on the mound. Big pitch right here. Astros 8, Yankees 7. Walk-off in the 9th inning. Wouldn't mind seeing that here today at home versus the Rangers. Jose Altuve at the plate. Altuve can't walk it off in the 9th. It is the bottom of the 8th. But he can definitely get us started off here. He tries to bunt. Strike 1. The running bunt. Trying to get on base. Altuve and Perez. Perez? Do you mean Paredes? That's on the inside corner. Barely a strike. Milner is on the mound now. Hobie. Low and outside. Ball 1. Altuve and Milner have faced each other just one time, and that was 8 years ago. Altuve got a double off of him. This is way outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Altuve. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Altuve grounds it down the third base side. Foul. Count remains 2-2. Anthony, I don't believe you. I don't believe you that your keyboard is broken and that you're stuck on all caps. Fouled off again. Count remains 2-2 to Altuve. You can use an on-screen keyboard to turn your caps off, sir. Here's the pitch to Altuve. A little too far inside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. About 2 inches too far inside. That was a good call by the ump and a good take by Altuve. Full count. Crowd gets a little loud. Altuve grounds it to third. It's going to get through. Heck yes. Single for Altuve on the 3-2 count. Right, perfectly placed between the third baseman and the shortstop. So we have our leadoff base runner. And just like that, as soon as Altuve gets on, Bochy comes out and pulls Milner. Can you believe that? They brought him out just to pitch to Altuve. That's crazy. Rangers going to have a pitching change so that we have a little break going on right now. That's funny. They bring in Milner to pitch to Altuve. Altuve wins the battle. Walker comes to the plate. Pitching change incoming. Interesting game. Definitely not a currently good result. But it's not over yet. If you guys are Astros fans, I do appreciate your likes and subscriptions on the channel. And anyone who's feeling extra saucy, I deeply appreciate your donations. My primary source of income is partial disability. Here in Japan, they have a few different levels of disability. And I qualify for one of the lower levels of disability because I'm able to mostly take care of myself. Assuming that I don't have another blood clot in my leg or something like that, some big issue, I'm able to function and do some things, but I'm not allowed to work under my visa. And so that means no steady income. And my actual disability comes every 2 months. And just so you have an idea of how much it is, it's roughly $350 a month. And by the way, that is not enough to live on, even in Japan. Here's the pitch to Walker, outside, ball 1. Good take. Chris Martin is on the mound. So if I can keep doing the live streams, that's what I'd like to keep doing. I enjoy it. It'd be nice to grow it out, build it out. Fouled back. 1 ball, 1 strike to Walker on that 94-mile-per-hour stinker as it sails back into the crowd. That's why I decided to offer the very low amount memberships. It's a very affordable way for people to show their support, so I appreciate that. Here's the next pitch to Walker. Low and outside. Ball 2. Altuve at first base, no outs. Two balls, 1 strike to Christian Walker. Here's the pitch from Martin. Ooh, right in on the fists. Swing and a foul back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Walker. That was rifled down the first base side, opposite field, but foul. Astros have 4 runs to make up just to tie the game. Got half of those on the field right now with Altuve on first and Walker at the plate. Got the Batman and Yiner coming up next. Ready and willing to tie up this game. And Dubon hoping for an opportunity to take the lead. Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Walker. Did he go around too far? And that's a strikeout. Walker looking really disappointed, but once again, it's not on the umpire, my friend. Yeah, he went around way too far. That's definitely a strikeout. If you're going to swing, swing, but don't do that. Either swing or don't swing, but don't do that. 1 away. The Batman comes to the plate. He's already got a 2-run homer today. He's got most of the Astros runs in 1 swing of the bat. Here's the pitch. A little outside. Wow, that should have been ball one. Called a strike. A couple of inches outside of the zone. Umpire loses one for us. He owes us a couple now. Caratini calls a timeout. Steps out of the box. 0-1 is the count with one out and Altuve on first base. Here comes the pitch. Grounded to the right side. They're only going to be able to get him at first base. Altuve goes to second. So we do have our runner in scoring position, but 2 away. Yainer Diaz comes to the plate. Two outs. Runner on second. Come on, Yainer. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. 95 right down the gut. 0-1. Chris says, I remember that six-run rally. I had given up. Yeah, it's easy to give up when you're down by 6 runs. It's easy to give up even if it's late in the game. You're down by 2. It's easy to give up, but you got to put that to the side because this is baseball and anything can happen. No reason to ever give up. When the game is over, it's over. So you never really have to give up. Either the game is going and you have a chance, or the game is finished and there is no chance. But there's no reason to give up, ever. Here comes the 0-2 pitch to Diaz from Martin in the dirt. He takes that one for ball one. Nice to see Yainer taking the balls in the dirt. Don't swing at that garbage, bro. 1-2. Chat is really quiet today, despite having 52 people following along. The 1-2 count to Yainer is on the way. He fouls this one down the third base side. Count remains 1-2. Most of you guys must just be listening in. Is it because it's well, it's kind of in the evening, right? It's Saturday here, Saturday morning here. It's almost lunchtime. There, it's Friday night. Opposite field hit by Yainer. There's that opposite field hit that I keep looking for. He got it right there. That's what I was saying earlier. Yainer often gets the opposite field hit or the opposite field home run. He's a big opposite field hitter. Comes through right there. Now we have runners on the corners with 2 outs. And that brings up Doobie. Old dog says, I've been in and out for dinner. In and out for dinner or been to in and out for dinner? I've never even been to In-N-Out. It's an In-N-Out burger place. It's so well known, but I've never been there ever in my life. First pitch to Doobie with runners on the corners, 2 outs. Here it comes. Come on, Doobie. Oh, you don't swing on the first pitch and it's right down the middle. That's happened twice today. Very first pitch right down the middle. Doobie is a special guy. 0-1 is the count. Come on, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Here's the pitch. He swings at that one, but it's too far inside. Diaz takes second base. Now we have 2 runners in scoring position. How about that? That's a little something. 0-2 is the count to Dubon with runners on second and third. We have 2 runners in scoring position. Give us a little something something, mister. Fouls that one off. A sinker on the inside. Stays alive, and the count is 0-2. It's interesting you prefer Whataburger. I know some people do. But man, I don't know. Maybe it's because of the Whataburger that I'm used to in Louisiana. But they just never make any good quality burgers. They're always nasty. Swing and a miss. Foul tip into the glove of the catcher, and Dubon strikes out. So the Astros have a chance with 2 runners in scoring position, but Doobie strikes out on a high fastball. Next to last chance for the Astros, and nothing doing. 8 hits for the Astros, 3 runs. 12 hits for the Rangers, 7 runs. It's 7-3 going into the top of the 9th. Unless the Astros have a really amazing 9th inning, the door is almost closed. You could say the door is closed. It's just not yet locked. Did the Astros have the ability to reopen the door and step through for a win? We won't know until we get to the bottom of the 9th, but we're almost there. Crispy says, I'm ready for the All-Star break. Looks like the Astros are too. It looks like the Astros are already on All-Star break. That's what it looks like to me. They are already on break, my friend. Already on break. The sad part is I can't even go down to the cafe to get myself a consolation meal today. I can check the local cafe, but I have a feeling they might not be open. It is Saturday, though. They might be. They're not always. Some of the independent cafes, especially in the countryside, they're a little strange, guys, because they post their hours on Instagram a lot. Today's the 12th. Hey, they are open today. So I can drown my sorrows in my local cafe. So that makes me feel a little better. I can go down there and get a meal and some coffee and cry about this game. If the Astros lose, I'm not saying they're going to lose, but if they do lose, I can drown my sorrows. If they win, I can have a celebratory dinner. If somebody wants to contribute to my either victory or drowning my sorrows meal, feel free to do so. Ort is in the game. First pitch is a little high and inside to Adolis Garcia. It's easy to tell in my headphones when Garcia is coming to the plate because it sounds like being in Yankee Stadium or Dodger Stadium whenever Altuve comes to the plate. Here's the pitch. That's a strike. Upper outer part of the zone, 1-1 to Garcia. 96 miles an hour. Come on, Ort. Here's the 1-1. Low and outside, ball 2. 2-1. Yeah, Caesar. Yeah, I know that In-N-Out is in California. I've only been in LAX twice. I've never actually been out into any of the cities in California, unfortunately. Swing and a foul tip into the glove of Caratini. 2 balls and 2 strikes against Garcia. The only places I've eaten at in California are in LAX airport. I visited a friend in Seattle on a transfer flight, and I luckily had some time, about less than a day, to go into the city, so that was nice. Unfortunately, I haven't had a layover like that in LA. High and inside for ball 2. 2-2 to Garcia. DeGrom and Valdez tomorrow. Eovaldi and Brown for game 3. Here comes a pitch to Garcia. Strike 3. 98 miles an hour in the top of the zone. Ort gets Garcia on the 2-2 pitch. Nice, nice, nice. Dairy Queen commercial. I miss the old country basket. The country basket, the dude sandwich. I used to have those often when I was a kid. This is ripped out into left field on the very first pitch. Wyatt Langford continues to have a good day today. Holy freaking cow. Very first pitch. Just rips it into left field. 4 hits for him tonight. He's just owning all the Astros. The Wyatt Langford homestead is is wanted for murder for killing the Astros pitching staff today. Runner on first with 1 out. That brings up Evan Carter. Is he going to complain about getting hit on the foot this time? We'll see. Here's the pitch. Right in there on the edge. The outside edge. Strike 1. 0-1 is the count. The battle of the Chris's. Only a Chris would notice that. I don't know what's going on right here. The umpire and Caratini and them are having a little chit chat about something. I think the umpire was annoyed about something, or he thought something was going on. I don't know. Here comes the pitch to Carter. Fouled off. Strike 2. 0-2 to Evan Carter. Hey Mark, good to see you. He says I'm quiet because I'm watching on my TV and no way to chat. I have to log on my computer or phone to chat like now. I appreciate you stepping in to let us know. Thanks a lot. It's nice to hear from you. 98 miles an hour above the zone. Ball 1, 1-2 is the count. The old dog says, "Where's my peanut butter?" Wrong mark. That's right, wrong mark. It's a different one. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss on the inside. Foul tip into the glove of Caratini. Carter goes down. Why didn't he say, that hit me, that hit me. Let's do a review. That hit me. Even though I swung at it, I think it hit me. Third strikeout for Carter today. Having the opposite day of the other batter. Runner's going to second. Here's the throw. Way too high and off the bag. Altuve barely able to grab that one and keep it from going into center field. So Langford will be on second base with 2 outs. Oh, he fouls it off. 0-2. Ort jumps out ahead. Yeah, Crispy, I don't understand why the Rangers have done so poorly. Underachievers, I guess you could say. To have such talented guys and to do so poorly with their record. Fouled back. Count stays 0-2. Yes, Fred, come on, Ort, indeed. Let's do it. 10:07 there. Here it is 12:08. It is lunchtime. When this game is over, I'm going to roll down the road to the cafe and get myself some omelet soup rice. A little low below the zone. Ball 1, 1-2. Top of the ninth, guys. Astros trying to shut this down. Ort trying to guess through the inning and give us an opportunity to come back in the ninth. Runner on second, 2 away, 2 strikes. That one's in the dirt. Ball 2, and the count is even, 2-2. Astros finally got 20 games up and then just started losing. Almost like it was a switch. 2 more likes to get to 50. Not bad for this game. Or it comes off the mound, fakes the throw to second. Duran is 0 for 1 with a fly out today. Count is 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Runner on second. Here's the toss. He hits this one high in the air. Is it going to be playable on the right side? Walker is underneath it. Right into the net. He can't get it. Count remains 2-2. Did he even have a play on that? Let's take a look at it. It kind of looks like he had a play, but it's hard to tell if it hit the net first. Don't know. Hard to tell. Hard to tell. Yep, comebacks have happened before, and bigger ones. Here's the pitch. Ground ball to short. DeBon scoops it up, fires to first, out number 3. So that's it for the 9th inning. 1 hit, but otherwise Ort has a good solid inning. Doesn't give up anything extra. Rangers get all of their runs within 3 innings, the 1st, the 3rd, and the 7th. They get 2, 3, and 2. The Astros get 1, 2 in the 1st and the 4th. But since the 4th, they haven't managed to score anything. The 5th through the 8th, goose eggs. Now is the opportunity for the Astros to have a rally. It just so happens to be their final opportunity. It's either tie the game up at least, or hang your heads in shame with a 4th loss in a row. Those are the choices. Them's the choices. Them's the choices. Oops. My coffee is gone. I'm going to grab my bottle of tea. Oh, man. I can tell I've got the... I don't know what is it about the spammers, the trolls, and the scammers, but they come in and they subscribe long enough to leave comments and stuff. But as soon as I start to call them out and remove them or put them in timeout, they unsubscribe. It makes my subscription count go up and down. But right now, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's burnout because of the way the Astros are playing. Because the Rangers, this is a big series right now. This is actually a really big series for the Astros. This is an in-state rival. We want to beat these guys, don't we? Chris Martin is on the mound for the Rangers. He came in last inning. I'm sorry, he was on the mound. He came in last inning. He's being replaced by Robert Garcia. He is facing Bryce Matthews. So Matthews has struck out 3 times. Is he going to do something different here? Now's the time to do it. He swings after the first pitch. Strike 1, 95-mile-per-hour fastball up and outside. Come on, Matthews. We need a leadoff runner. Big leadoff hit. Come on. Get on. Here's the 0-1. Outside, ball 1. 1-1 is the count. Yeah, Crispy, the Astros have consistently had that problem since last year, leaving base runners on. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss right in there. 89-mile-per-hour changeup right in the zone. So far, Matthews hasn't proven that he can even get the bat on the ball. Everything from upper 90s to upper 80s to upper 90s. He hasn't put it in play yet, not once. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He's trying too hard, maybe? Could be. That ball's in the dirt, 2-2. Here's a pitch. This is hit really hard to the Crawford boxes. Are you kidding me? Is it going to be... No! I thought for sure it was going to be a big hit. It's caught at the track. He drove it all the way out to the wall in the Crawford boxes at the wall, and it was caught on the warning track. His family was really excited. They were up and clapping. Look how close that was. Look at that. Look how close that was. Bryce Matthews almost comes through with a 9th inning solo shot. Whew, I'm glad that he didn't strike out, though. He hit that ball hard. That's so much better than a strikeout. That's something. That's hopeful. But that's 1 out. We still have 4 more runs and just 2 outs. Garcia almost gave up a home run. The first major league hit to Bryce Matthews. I bet he feels a little relieved about that. The reliever feeling relieved. Yeah, old dog, that was really close. Hummel is pinch hitting now for Trammell. Here's the pitch. Inside, a little bit too far inside, but called a strike. Hummel switch hitting, batting righty against the left-hander, Garcia. 0-1 is the count. Here comes the pitch. In the dirt, ball 1. The count's even. Yeah, Freddie made pretty good contact. Man, I was excited there for a moment. I thought it was going to get there. 1-1 is the count. Here comes the pitch. Right in the bottom part of the zone. Strike 2. 1-2 against Hummel. Yeah, it's a long hangover, old dog. It's a really long hangover. Astros are 1 out away from losing game 1 to the Rangers at home and their 4th game in a row. 13 hits for the Rangers today and 7 runs. Astros shy of 10 hits. They've got 8 and 3 runs only. Isak Paredes comes to the plate. He has 2 singles today. Scored 1 time. Here comes the first pitch. Right in the bottom outside corner of the zone. Strike 1. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Isak tried to hold up there, but he went way too far, and that's strike 2. 0-2. 1 strike away from rethinking what we're doing. Not enough runs, not enough offense today. Too many errors on the mound. Another bad combination. Here comes the 0-2 pitch from Garcia. Too far inside, ball 1, 1-2. Yeah, Fred, you're right. A losing streak like this, I mean, it's bound to happen. All teams go through them. Just wasn't expecting the Astros to go through that right now. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and that's going to be it for the Astros this game. Paredes strikes out, and the final score is 7-3. Yeah, a number of our top hitters are out of the lineup. All of our main guys, really, are out of the lineup. I mean, Altuve has not been doing badly. He's been getting a lot of RBIs, coming through in tight situations and putting some runs on the board. But if the Astros pitchers aren't getting it done and there's not a lot of support around him, he can't do it all by himself, you know. The Oort cloud, Chris says. When Oort pitches, all I can think of is the Oort cloud, a spherical cloud of dust beyond the orbit of Pluto. The Oort cloud. That's right. It'd be nice if Oort's cloud could always confuse the hitters. Just a really quick scoring summary, guys, because I don't like to waste a lot of time when the Astros have such a miserable game. But let's take a quick look at it. In the top of the first, it looked like it was going to be a high-scoring game all around because the Rangers got on the board with a single, scored 2 runs. Then the Astros came up, threatened to score more, but they did get a ground out. Walker grounded out the second, scored Paredes. But the Astros stranded some runners on base. So we came away with 1. But from there, the Astros just kind of became very lethargic. In the third inning, Garcia homered, 3-1 Rangers. Heim doubled to right, scoring 2 runs, 5-1 Rangers. In the bottom of the fourth, the Astros would get 2 more runs on the board with a Victor Caratini home run, 5-3. It looked like we might be able to start mounting a comeback there, but once again, the Rangers just pushed the Astros away when Langford homered to left, scoring Seager, making it 7-3, and nothing happened for the Astros. We stranded a lot of runners after that. You know, if you guys know, do you guys know left on base? Let me show you this right quick in case you don't know this. Okay, left on base versus stranded runners, and I think there's a big difference. You never really hear them talk about this in the on the MLB broadcasts, on the TV broadcasts, or on the radio. The Astros commentators don't talk about it, but stranding base runners and left on base are two different things. So you might hear that, well, the Astros stranded 20 base runners in the last game, and it sounds really bad, and it's true, it is bad, but actually it was worse than that. It was worse than that, because the runners left on base and the stranded runners are different. So if there's a runner on second and there are 2 outs, and Cam Smith strikes out, and they would say 1 runner stranded. But let's back up. Let's say that Altuve gets a hit, a leadoff hit. He's on second base. There are no outs. And then the next 3 batters come up and ground out, fly out, strike out. Okay? So Altuve is stranded on second, right? But how many times was he left on base? 3 times. 3 times. So you're not getting the whole story when they say stranded on base. You're not getting the whole story. What you're getting is who was on base at the end of the inning. But that's not the most important statistic. The most important statistic is the left on base runners. So if Altuve gets on base and then another runner gets on base and we have runners on first and second or second and third with no outs, and Christian Walker comes to the plate, strikes out, and then Caratini comes to the plate and flies out to the infield or something, and then Yainer Diaz comes to the plate and strikes out, and we have 2 runners on base with no outs, and then with 1 out, and then with 2 outs, and then with 3 outs. Do you know how many runners that is left on base in that 1 inning? 6. Because each batter had an opportunity to bring them in, and they didn't do it. So whenever Walker strikes out with 2 runners on, that's 2 left on base. And this is a real statistic, by the way. I'm not making this up. This is a real statistic. So then the next batter is Caratini. Caratini flies out. That's 4 runners that are now left on base. And then Diaz comes to the plate and strikes out. That's now 6 runners left on base. And they'll say at the end of the inning, 2 runners stranded. But that's not telling the whole story. So when you hear them say that the Astros stranded 20 runners on base in the last game, they're only talking about runners that were left on base at the end of the inning. But that's not very clear. If you want to really see what the problem is with the Astros, and I'm being completely honest, go look at the number of runners that were left on base by each batter. Okay? Now, I want to share something with you guys right quick. Let's go back and take a look at the runners that were left on base by each batter this inning. In this game. Yeah, see you tomorrow, Jason. Thank you for being here. Paredes had the opportunity to drive in a runner. He left 1 runner on base. Cam Smith left 2 on base. Altuve left 3 on base. Walker left 4 on base. Caratini left 1 on base. Diaz left 2 on base. Dubon left 3 on base. Matthews left 1 on base. Trammell didn't have an opportunity with anybody on base, so he didn't have any left on base. The total number of times where the Astros actually had somebody on base that they could move them around was 17. 17 times they had opportunities to move runners around, and they didn't. So today wasn't as bad, but it's still bad. If they had 20 stranded runners, the left on base was probably more like 25, 26, 27, maybe 28. Could be more. It could be 30. It's crazy. You're absolutely right, Fred. That's way too many men left on base. That's the thing. That's what I'm telling you guys. you always hear the commentators say 2 men left on or 2 men stranded. And that's not good, but it doesn't really paint the story of the inning when you have leadoff runners on base and all of the following batters proceed to get out, 3 up and 3 down. So you got 1 or 2 runners on, maybe bases loaded, and then you have 3 up and 3 down after that. You're literally stranding 9 runners. Think about that. When bases are loaded with no outs and then the next 3 batters get out, you stranded 9 runners. That's 9 left on base in 1 inning. That's unacceptable to not even bring 1 around. Fred says they've all turned into Walker. Need to get more aggressive at the plate. I see what you're saying. I mean, it's a harsh comment, but there's truth in it. There's truth in it. Anyway, let's look forward to the game tomorrow. I was just expressing my opinion about that. I don't know if you guys have ever thought about that, but whenever you start to look at, things from my perspective, when I started doing the live streams and stuff, I started to see things and think about things that I didn't think about before. And that's one of them, left on base versus stranded. All right. Tomorrow's game, I believe, has a different time. I think the next 2 games have different times, right? I think so. Yeah, tomorrow's game is a little bit earlier, about 30 minutes earlier. So I'll be here in Japan time. I'll be here at 8:35 tomorrow. And that game is going to be Framber Valdez versus DeGrom. Jacob DeGrom. According to ESPN, they've been wrong about every single game. Every single game from the Dodgers game 1 all the way through today. They've been wrong about every single game. They said the Astros would lose, win. But the Astros won, lost. Can you believe that? Today, the matchup predictor on ESPN says about tomorrow that the Astros have a 57.2% chance of winning. So are the Astros actually going to break this cycle and win tomorrow? I certainly hope so. Let's hope that we get our good Framber. 10-4 with a 2.9 ERA versus Jacob DeGrom, who's got a 2.29, 9-2. So it's a big pitching matchup tomorrow, and then I'm going to have to get my butt up early for game 3. That game starts at 3:10 for me, so I'm going to have to get up about a 2:15. Let's see here. Anthony asked, do you think the Astros will win tomorrow? It's a strange question, but of course, I always expect the Astros to win, always, 100% of the time. If they don't, so be it, but I expect that they will win. Fred says they've all turned... Oh, yeah, I read that. Got to keep positive. Fred says Astros have their big gun pitchers up next. That's right. The Astros pitchers are... These are our 2 aces, and normally they're pretty good. Hunter had his bad day the other day, and I believe he's got that out of his system. And Framber had... Even though he was shaky, he still wound up getting it, right? So, like you said, I think he'll come through tomorrow. I agree with you, Fred. Absolutely. But that's pretty much it for today. Other than... Oh, yeah, one more thing. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. Let's take a look and see if there are any pertinent or related scores going on in the MLB that are of note. Let's see here. The Padres are beating the Phillies 3-2 in the 7th. The Blue Jays are beating the A's 4-0 in the 5th. The Giants are beating the Dodgers. Dodgers still having a hard time winning games. That's funny. Love to see that. Guardians look like they're going to beat the Sox. Oh, they did. It's over, 4-2. Wow, the Yankees spanked the Cubs. I don't know who to vote for in that game. I don't like either one of those teams, the Stankies or the Curbs. But the Stankies pulled it out. But, of course, the Stankies are more of a threat to the Astros, so I'd like to see them lose more and more, obviously. And let's see here. Anyone else? Wow, the Mariners destroyed the Tigers. Good job, Mariners. You know, the Astros didn't gain any ground on the Tigers today, but at least they didn't lose any. Let's see. Anything else? Anything else? Nope. I don't see anything else of note that is related to the Astros, so we'll stop right there today. Thank you guys and gals so much. Once again, I want to say a special thanks to all of you who donated to me recently. Caesar and Old Dog. A couple of other people who remained anonymous. And Robert. All of these donations that came in through the Buy Me a Coffee link. And also for my new subscriber, my first YouTube member, VentureCast. Thank you for joining the channel. Thank you so much. I had my first super yesterday also by one of my subscribers. Thank you very, very much. Also had a really nice, very generous donation come in from another subscriber. And I want to also say thank you very much to that subscriber for your support. I appreciate you guys coming in, liking, subscribing, and supporting. There's never a guarantee about what's going on in life, right? And I don't know if I'll be able to keep doing my channel, but my intent is to continue to grow the channel and be here every day and do all of the games and continue to grow it. So it is definitely my hope to continue to be here and do my best to be healthy, completely recover, get this channel built up, get the community built up, and if for some reason I'm not able to continue it in the future, I plan to pass it off to somebody who is a passionate Astros fan who can continue the live stream, because who knows if I'm going to be able to continue doing it myself. But as long as I'm physically able and financially capable, I plan to be here, and I thank you for your support. Angie, once again, I wanted to say thank you for your kind, very generous support that you sent recently. I just saw that yesterday, but I think it was sent a couple of days ago. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it deeply. A couple of people have also donated through Patreon, and I also appreciate that. So I've got some support coming in from different angles. All greatly appreciated. Thank you very, very much. And that's it for today, guys. I'm going to go grab some lunch. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Let's hope the Astros can turn it around. They can't lose all the time. They can't lose all the time. The only thing that I have left to say, as usual, is Geaux Stros. And I'll see you tomorrow.